Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unlocking a kind of secret code to understanding and sounding more natural in English. We're talking idioms.
Right. Those phrases where the meaning isn't just the sum of the words. Mastering them, well, it really makes a difference in how you connect.
Exactly. Think of them as cultural shortcuts, almost. They pack in a lot of shared understanding.
Yeah, and it's not just knowing the definition, is it? It's about getting a feel for when to use them, why we use them.
And to help us crack this code, we're diving into a really great collection, 100 Common English Idioms. This is based on an English with Lucy YouTube video.
A good resource.
Yeah. So our goal for you today isn't just memorizing lists. We want you to get a practical sense of these phrases.
So you can understand them when you hear them, sure, but also feel confident, actually using them.
Exactly. In everyday conversations, we'll cover idioms for all sorts of things. Easy stuff, tricky social moments, you name it.
Okay, sounds good. Where should we start? Maybe everyday situations.
Perfect. Let's kick off with something simple, something we all like. Ease. The video mentions a classic for something very easy. What is it?
That's got to be a piece of cake.
Right. That exam was a piece of cake. So common. But why cake, you think?
Well, maybe because cake is, enjoyable, easy to eat. It kind of carries that feeling of effortless pleasure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what about the opposite? When we take on, well, too much.
Then you've bitten off more than you can chew.
Such a vivid image, isn't it? Trying to stuff too much in your mouth really captures that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Absolutely, we've all done it. Okay, how about when something bad happens, but it surprisingly turns out okay, or even good?
That's a blessing in disguise.
Right, like losing a job seems awful.
But then it leads to a much better one. It was a blessing in disguise. It's quite a hopeful phrase, actually.
It is. Reminds us we don't always see the bigger picture straight away.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk money, cost. But what's a way to say something's really cheap?
As cheap as chips.
Yeah, especially here in the UK with our chips.
Exactly. Fries, for some listeners, don't worry about lunch, it was cheap as chips. It just sounds inexpensive.
It does. It feels accessible. And the other end of the scale, super expensive.
That would cost an arm and a leg?
Ouch.
Yeah, that vintage car must have cost him an arm and a leg. It's dramatic, emphasizes the high price. Where does that even come from?
It does sound extreme. Maybe it implies you'd sacrifice something valuable for it. I'm not actually sure on the origin.
Could be. Okay, mistakes. We all make them. What about when you're pursuing the wrong course of action, trying to solve something a wrong way?
Then you're barking up the wrong tree.
Right, like if you think emailing them will work, you're barking up the wrong tree. You need to call, like a dog at the wrong tree.
Exactly. Wasted effort, wrong direction.
Yeah.
Perfect analogy. Now, what about those things we just have to do even if we hate them? Unpleasant tasks.
You just have to bite the bullet. Yeah, I really didn't want to go to that meeting, but I had to bite the bullet. It feels like facing something tough with stoicism.
It does. That image, supposedly from old surgeries, adds weight to it. Enduring pain.
Okay, what about just stopping work for the day?
That's easy. You call it a day.
Nice and simple.
Yeah. It's getting late, let's call it a day. Just means, we're done for now.
Provides a clear stop. Okay, meeting new people. Can be awkward at first. How do you describe making things less awkward?
You need to break the ice.
We get things flowing.
Yeah. Team building games are meant to help break the ice, just easing that initial tension, getting people talking.
Creating a relaxed vibe. And if you need someone to be careful, go slow. Maybe they're carrying something fragile.
You'd say easy does it.
Gently does it.
Yeah, easy does it with that vase. Just a gentle warning to be careful, don't rush.
Take your time, avoid mistakes.
Right. And one last one for this section. How do you show you really, really agree with someone?
You can say that again.
Definitely.
Like, this coffee is amazing. You can say that again. Leaves no doubt.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. Category 2, advice and social interactions. This is where idioms get really useful for navigating, people.
For sure. Starting with a big one. The importance of what you do.
Actions speak louder than words.
Classic. He keeps promising, but actions speak louder than words. Shows that doing is more important than saying.
Tangible evidence over empty promises. Essential. Now, what if someone makes a bad situation even worse?
Yeah.
They hurt you, then do something else.
They add insult to injury.
Oof.
Yeah. First they canceled the flight, then, to add insult to injury, they lost the luggage. It's like compounding the problem.
A double blow. Very frustrating. Sometimes people avoid the main point, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's awkward.
Beat around the bush.
Drives you mad sometimes.
Totally. Stop beating around the bush. Just tell me. It's all about avoiding the core issue.
Yeah, not being direct. Now, what about being late? Is there a slightly forgiving idiom?
Yeah, better late than never.
A classic excuse.
Maybe. The bus was delayed, but hey, better late than never. It acknowledges the lateness, but says arriving is still good.
It accepts imperfection, I suppose. Okay, encouragement. How about wishing luck or telling someone to keep going?
Well, for luck, especially before a performance, it's break a leg. Weird one, that.
It is. Supposedly bad luck to wish good luck in theaters.
Right, and to keep someone going through tough times, hang in there.
Keep persevering.
Yeah, and to stay positive, keep one's chin up. So you might say, exams are tough, but hang in there and keep your chin up.
All good ways to offer support. Now, what if someone, isn't very good at something, but thinks they are? How might you gently mock them?
The sarcastic, don't give up the day job.
Hey, a bit mean, maybe.
Can be. Jokingly, your singing was unique, don't give up the day job. Suggests sticking to what you're actually paid for.
A pointed, but usually humorous way to say, you're not great at this.
Yeah.
Okay, wise decisions. How about not relying on just one option? Avoiding risk.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Very practical advice.
Yeah, for investments, job hunting, applying for several jobs, don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Spreading the risk.
Simple image, powerful message. And finding the good in a bad situation. The positive side.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Always look on the bright side.
Pretty much. Losing my job meant I could follow my passion. Every cloud has a silver lining. Finding the good in the bad.
A reminder that positives can emerge from negatives. Okay, what if someone gets treated badly in the same way they treat others?
They get a taste of their own medicine.
Serves them right, maybe?
Sometimes feels that way. The bully got a taste of his own medicine when they ignored him. It's about receiving the same negative treatment.
A kind of karmic balance. Now, what if a situation just gets completely chaotic, unmanageable?
Like it's out of hand.
Like a party getting too wild.
Exactly. The party got a bit out of hand after midnight. It just means loss of control.
Gone beyond the intended limits.
Right.
And finally here, needing to vent frustration or express a feeling to move past it.
You need to get something out of your system.
Let it go.
Yeah. I had a rotten day, went for a run to get it out of my system. Releasing that pent-up emotion.
Processing and moving on. Okay, good stuff. Let's tackle category 3. Planning and problem solving. Getting organized. Finding solutions.
Right. Starts with getting yourself sorted. Get your act together.
Call to action.
Definitely. My desk is a disaster. I need to get my act together. Just means organize yourself, be more effective.
Take control, basically. Now, what about trusting someone even without solid proof? Maybe giving them a break.
That's to give someone the benefit of the doubt.
A charitable approach.
Yeah. She said she was stuck in traffic. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Choosing to trust when you're not 100% sure.
Shows understanding. What about the opposite? Intentionally ignoring someone. Showing disapproval.
You give someone the cold shoulder.
Ooh, chilly.
Feels it. I think she's giving me the cold shoulder. Wonder what I did. It's a very clear, nonverbal rejection.
Not pleasant. Okay, what if your plan fails completely? Back to square one.
You have to go back to the drawing board.
Start again.
Yep. That campaign bombed. We need to go back to the drawing board. Means starting over with a fresh plan.
Problem solving often involves that. Sometimes, though, you just need patience. What's an idiom for that?
Good things come to those who wait.
A classic reminder.
Yeah. Don't rush it. Good things come to those who wait. Encourages patience for a better outcome.
Persevere. Don't be hasty. Okay, what about when you're exactly right about something? A solution, an observation.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Bullseye.
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. That's precisely the issue. Signifies perfect accuracy.
Very satisfying. Now, a more casual one. Going to bed.
To hit the sack.
Sounds like collapsing.
Pretty much. I'm wiped. Gonna hit the sack. Just a common informal way to say you're off to sleep.
Got it. And the idea that sometimes not knowing something is better for your peace of mind?
Ignorance is bliss.
Controversial, maybe?
Can be. Should I ask what they really thought? Nah, ignorance is bliss. Suggests avoiding potentially upsetting knowledge.
What you don't know can hurt you. Sometimes. Okay, being brief. Summarizing quickly, 2 options.
In a nutshell. And to make a long story short,
Get to the point.
yep, in a nutshell, the project's done. Or, to make a long story short, we canceled, Both condense things.
Useful shortcuts. What if you recognize a fault in someone because, well, you have the same fault?
It takes one to know one.
A bit cheeky.
Usually. If someone calls you disorganized, you might say, well, it takes one to know one. Implies you share that trait.
Acknowledging a shared, maybe negative characteristic. Okay, the last one here. Something really easy to understand, not complicated.
It's not rocket science.
Or brain surgery.
Right. Come on, you can do this. It's not rocket science. Emphasizes simplicity.
Pretty straightforward. Okay, category 4. Opportunities and decisions. Seizing chances, making choices, starting with joining a trend.
That's to jump on the bandwagon.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, that new diet came out. Suddenly everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, joining what's popular or fashionable.
Following the crowd. What about being efficient, doing 2 things at once?
To kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Very efficient.
Right. I'll grab the shopping on the way to the gym, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, achieving 2 goals with 1 action.
Maximizing your time.
Yeah.
Okay, being really, really thorough, searching everywhere.
You need to leave no stone unturned.
Exhaustive search.
Exactly. The police will leave no stone unturned. Means a completely comprehensive effort.
Total dedication. Now, sometimes it's better not to stir up old trouble, right?
Yeah.
Let things rest.
Yeah, let sleeping dogs lie.
Don't poke the bear.
Kind of. That argument is over. Let's just let sleeping dogs lie. Advises against reviving dormant problems.
Maintain the peace. What about getting away with something? Being excused from punishment?
You get let off the hook.
Lucky escape.
Often, yeah. He was speeding, but the officer let him off the hook with just a warning, freed from a consequence.
Leniency. And revealing a secret by accident.
Someone lets the cat out of the bag. Yeah. I was planning a surprise, but my brother let the cat out of the bag. Unintentional disclosure. Spoils the secret.
Definitely ruins surprises. What about missing an opportunity because you waited too long?
You missed the boat.
Too slow.
Exactly. Waited too long to buy tickets. Now I've missed the boat. A lost chance because of delay.
Timing is everything. Now, a slightly more regional one, maybe? Neck of the woods?
Yeah, it just means the general area where someone lives or where you are.
Like your neighborhood?
Pretty much. Didn't expect to see you in this neck of the woods. Just means around here.
Friendly, informal. Okay, effort and reward. The idea that you need to work hard for results.
No pain, no gain.
The gym mantra.
Totally. These squats are killer, but no pain, no gain. Emphasizes that achievement requires effort, maybe discomfort.
Motivation through hardship? What if you just don't like something? It's not your preference.
It's not one's cup of tea.
Sounds very British.
It does, doesn't it? Thanks, but opera isn't really my cup of tea. A polite way to say I don't like it.
A gentle refusal.
Yeah.
And finally here, speaking without preparation. Spontaneously.
Speaking off the top of one's head.
Impromptu.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I think it's on Tuesday. Means based on immediate thought, no research.
Instant recall, or lack thereof. Right, category 5. Performance and status. How capable someone is, their current situation. Starting with someone really competent and alert.
They're on the ball.
Switched on.
Exactly. Our new assistant is really on the ball, anticipates everything. Means efficient, attentive, capable.
Proactive. What about being in a risky situation? One wrong move could spell trouble.
You're on thin ice.
Precarious.
Very. After messing up last time, I'm on thin ice with the boss. Means you're in danger. Another mistake will be serious.
Paints a clear picture of risk. Okay, something that happens very, very rarely.
Once in a blue moon.
Like almost never.
Pretty much. I only eat fast food once in a blue moon. Emphasizes extreme infrequency.
Highlights how unusual it is. What about something totally unattainable? Out of reach?
It's out of someone's league.
Too good. Too expensive.
Yeah. That mansion is way out of my league. Implies a big gap in status, wealth, or quality.
A significant disparity. Okay, arguing a point you don't necessarily believe just for debate's sake.
That's playing devil's advocate.
Stirring the pot.
Sometimes. Okay, I'll play devil's advocate. What if the opposite is true? It's about presenting an opposing view to stimulate thought.
Can be useful for testing ideas. What about improvising? Deciding as you go, no fixed plan.
To play something by ear.
Go with the flow.
Exactly. Let's not make firm plans for Saturday. We'll just play it by ear. Making decisions as things unfold.
Flexible, adaptable, and teasing someone playfully. Joking with them.
To pull someone's leg.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Are you serious or are you just pulling my leg? Gentle trickery, usually friendly.
Lighthearted teasing. What about regaining composure after being upset? Getting control.
You need to pull yourself together.
Get a grip.
To someone crying, come on, pull yourself together. It's about regaining emotional stability.
A call for self-control. And spoiling someone else's happiness or plans. Being negative.
They rain on someone's parade.
Being a wet blanket.
Exactly. I hate to rain on your parade, but that might be difficult. Means dampening spirits, spoiling enjoyment.
Discouraging. And causing trouble. Disturbing a peaceful situation.
That's to rock the boat.
Upsetting the balance.
Yeah. Things are calm now. Let's not rock the boat with new demands. Advice is against causing unnecessary disruption.
Maintaining stability. Last one for this group. Saving money for emergencies. Future needs.
To save something for a rainy day.
Sensible advice.
Very. Put some of that bonus aside, save it for a rainy day. Preparing for future hardship.
Prudent planning. Okay, moving into category 6. Agreement, understanding, and opinions. Seeing things the same way, expressing views. Starting with agreeing with someone.
You see eye to eye.
On the same page.
Exactly. We don't always see eye to eye on politics. It means having the same opinion or viewpoint.
Shared perspective. What about making something clear? Explaining something confusing.
To shed light on something.
Illuminating the issue.
Yeah. Could you shed some light on these figures? Means providing clarity or understanding.
Making the obscure clear. What about being undecided between two options? Can't choose. Two ways to say this.
You can sit on the fence or you can be on the fence.
Indecisive.
Yep. I'm sitting on the fence about which car to buy. Both mean unable to choose.
Stuck in the middle. Okay. Waiting patiently, calmly.
To sit tight.
Hold your horses.
Pretty much. The results aren't out yet. Just sit tight. Means wait patiently. Don't act yet.
Stillness and anticipation. What if you suspect something's wrong? Dishonest. Fishy.
You smell a rat.
Something's not right.
Exactly. His story doesn't add up. I smell a rat. Sensing deception or suspicion.
An intuitive feeling.
Okay.
Saying things are going well up to now.
So far, so good.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. Someone asks us about the project. So far, so good. Means progress is okay, but no guarantees for the future.
A guarded update. And a really strong way to say you'd never do something. Really dislike it.
Someone wouldn't be caught dead doing it.
Absolutely not.
Definitely. I wouldn't be caught dead in that outfit. Expresses extreme aversion. Strong feelings.
Leaves no room for doubt. What if someone means well, their intentions are good, even if they mess up?
You'd say, someone's heart is in the right place.
Good intentions.
Yeah. He made a mistake, but his heart is in the right place. Means they intended well, even if the execution failed.
Forgiving their fumble and expressing total surprise.
Yeah.
Astonishment.
Someone's jaw drops.
Visually striking.
It is. When they announced the winner, his jaw dropped. An image of complete surprise.
You can picture it. Okay, something or someone you deeply cherish. Very proud of.
That's someone's pride and joy.
Most treasured possession or person.
Right. His restored motorbike is his pride and joy. Something deeply valued, bringing delight.
Strong sense of ownership and love. What about when someone's real character, often negative, is revealed?
They show someone's true colors.
The mask slips.
He seemed nice, but showed his true colors during the argument, revealing the real, perhaps unpleasant personality.
The facade comes down. Okay, last one here. Something seems familiar, but you can't quite place it.
Something rings a bell.
Vaguely familiar.
Exactly. That name rings a bell, but I don't know from where. Feels familiar, but the memory is fuzzy.
Almost remembering. Okay, category 7. Secrets, pressure, and decisions. Revelations, tough choices. Starting with that weird moment, someone appears right after you mention them.
Huh, yes. Speak of the devil.
Spooky timing.
Right. Well, speak of the devil, here's Sarah now. An exclamation for that coincidence.
Quite a moment. Okay, revealing a secret, letting it slip.
To spill the beans.
Let the cat out of the bag again.
Similar, yeah, but maybe more deliberate. Or just blurting it out. Come on, spill the beans. What happened? Means disclosing secrets.
Releasing the info. What about unfairly taking credit for someone else's idea or success?
They steal someone's thunder.
Not cool.
No. She announced her news right after I announced mine. Totally stole my thunder. Taking attention from someone else's big moment.
Pretty selfish. Okay, being firm. Refusing to change your mind or beliefs under pressure.
To stick to one's guns.
Standing firm.
Yeah. Don't let them persuade you. Stick to your guns. Means remain resolute in your position.
Holding your ground. Now, being skeptical about something, not taking it too seriously, Two options.
You can take something with a pinch of salt or a grain of salt.
He's skeptical.
Exactly. Take his promises with a pinch of salt. He's not always reliable. Suggests doubt, not believing fully.
A need for caution. What about making fun of someone? Teasing them.
That's to take the mickey or take the mick.
Usually lighthearted.
Usually, yeah. Are you taking the mickey out of my new haircut? Means teasing or ridiculing, often gently.
Friendly ribbing. Okay, what about indicating it's someone else's turn to decide or act?
The ball is in your court.
Your move.
Precisely. I've made my offer. The ball is in your court now. Signifies the responsibility shifts to the other person.
Puts the onus on them. What about a situation where you get the benefits of two different things? No compromise.
That's the best of both worlds.
The ideal setup.
Isn't it? Working flexibly gives me the best of both worlds. Career and family time. Enjoying two desirable things at once.
Perfect scenario. And a really great invention. Something amazing.
It's the best thing since sliced bread.
High praise indeed.
Definitely. People said the smartphone was the best thing since sliced bread, used for something innovative and highly beneficial. Especially sliced bread, apparently.
Must have been revolutionary. Okay, what if something looks good but has hidden problems in the specifics?
The devil is in the details.
Look closely.
Exactly. The plan seems fine, but the devil is in the details. Let's check the fine print. Means minor details can cause major issues.
Emphasizes thoroughness. And finally, for this section, getting an advantage by being early.
The early bird gets the worm.
Be prompt.
Yeah. Let's get to the sale when it opens. The early bird gets the worm. Emphasizes the benefit of being first.
Rewards promptness. Okay, we're on the home stretch. Final category. Problems, persistence, and understanding. Starting with that big, obvious problem everyone ignores.
The elephant in the room.
Awkward silence.
Totally. We need to discuss the elephant in the room. The budget cuts. A major issue, obvious, but avoided.
Creates tension. What about the final incident that makes someone snap? The breaking point after many problems.
That's the last straw, or sometimes the final straw.
That's it. I've had enough.
Exactly. His lateness was bad, but losing the report was the last straw. The final tolerance exceeding problem.
The limit reached. What about consoling someone after a breakup, suggesting other opportunities exist?
There are plenty more fish in the sea.
Or plenty of fish.
Both work, yeah. Don't be upset. There are plenty more fish in the sea. Suggests other potential partners are out there.
Offers hope for the future. What if someone acts crazy, but there's a hidden logic?
There's method to someone's madness.
Secretly clever.
Maybe. His filing system looks chaotic, but there's method to his madness. He finds everything. Suggests hidden logic behind odd behavior.
Deeper planning than it seems.
Yeah.
What about the idea that nothing is truly free? Everything has a cost.
There is no such thing as a free lunch.
Always a catch.
Yeah, that's the idea. A free trial. There's no such thing as a free lunch. What happens later? Even free things often have hidden costs or obligations.
A pragmatic worldview.
Yeah.
Okay, supporting someone through good times and bad. Loyalty.
Through thick and thin.
Unwavering support.
Definitely. Good friends stick by you through thick and thin. Means remaining loyal in all circumstances.
Deep commitment. What about taking a big risk? Acting impulsively.
To throw caution to the wind.
YOLO.
Basically, decided to throw caution to the wind and travel the world, acting boldly without overly worrying about consequences.
Bold, maybe reckless. And making a bad situation even worse.
To make matters worse.
Adding fuel to the fire.
Similar feeling. The car broke down, and to make matters worse, my phone died. An additional negative that compounds the problem.
Another layer of difficulty. What about persuading someone, maybe persistently, to do something they didn't want to?
To twist someone's arm.
Gentle pressure.
Usually. I didn't want dessert, but they twisted my arm. Means persuaded through persistence.
Gentle coercion, maybe, and feeling just a bit ill. Not seriously sick.
Under the weather?
Feeling poorly.
Yeah. Can't make it tonight, feeling a bit under the weather. Means slightly ill.
A mild way to put it.
Oh,
What if something's undecided? Uncertain outcome.
it's up in the air.
Still pending.
Exactly. Our holiday plans are still up in the air. Means unresolved, outcome uncertain.
Waiting for a decision. And dealing with future problems only if they happen. Not worrying beforehand.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Deal with it then.
Right. What if the flight's delayed? Look, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Advises against premature worry.
Focus on the present. Okay, final one from the main list. Understanding something difficult after some effort.
To wrap your head around something.
Get your mind around it.
Yeah. It took me a while to wrap my head around the new regulations, finally comprehending something complex.
Mental effort to understand. Phew. Oh, wait, there were two final important ones, weren't there?
Yes, briefly. The first is about not being able to have two conflicting things simultaneously.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right. He wants a promotion but doesn't want more responsibility. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Highlights the need for choices.
Trade-offs are necessary. A timeless truth. And the very last one, don't judge based only on appearance.
Absolutely crucial. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Look deeper.
Exactly. He looks quiet, but you can't judge a book by its cover. He's actually hilarious.
Advises against superficial judgments.
Consider the inner qualities. Wow.
Well, that was quite the journey through 100 common English idioms. Hopefully you, our listener, have a much richer understanding now. Yeah, understanding these and knowing how to use them, it's a really big step in fluency. It helps you connect, understand the humor, the culture.
Exactly. These idioms from Lucy's video are a fantastic toolkit for navigating conversations and catching those nuances. Maybe take a moment to think which ones were new to you or which ones you found, particularly useful.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Think about how these phrases reflect culture. What shared experiences or values might be embedded in idioms like bite the bullet or every cloud has a silver lining?
Good question. And maybe consider your own language. Are there similar concepts, even if the words are totally different? Phrases that capture the same feeling. It really is fascinating how culture shapes language.
It really is. The cultural fingerprints are all over them. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your sources and, well, just like the name says, we plunge deep to bring you the most interesting and useful insights.
And today, we're really embarking on a linguistic adventure. We're exploring the, wonderfully rich world of advanced English idioms. You, our listener, shared a fantastic resource, the transcript from a really thorough English with Lucy YouTube video.
Exactly. And she's compiled, over 111 idioms, all neatly organized into categories. It feels like a shortcut, really.
It is, yeah. Think of it as your fast track to understanding this whole other layer of English expression, much better than just memorizing lists.
Right. Forget dusty dictionaries.
Precisely. And for you, the learner, this isn't just about learning phrases off by heart. Understanding these idioms, it's a real key, to unlocking more natural, more fluent speech.
And getting the cultural stuff too, right?
Absolutely. Appreciating those cultural nuances woven into the language and, crucially, avoiding those awkward moments where, the literal meaning just completely misses the point.
Okay, let's dive in then. Lucy starts with idioms about happiness and excitement, which seems like a pretty good place to start.
Sounds good. Yeah, keeps things positive.
First up is in seventh heaven. She used the example of finding out you're pregnant. You can just feel that overwhelming joy, can't you?
You really can. It's such a strong image. Comes from that old idea of heaven having levels, doesn't it? Seventh being the best. Adds a bit of depth.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, then there's to paint the town red.
Ah, yes. Going out, big celebration, really lively, like hitting the pubs after finishing exams. That's the example used.
It's so vivid, you can almost feel the energy of that.
Definitely. And then there are a couple that are, pretty similar in meaning. Over the moon and on cloud nine. Both mean extremely happy, delighted.
Right. She gives the job offer example for over the moon and the mother visiting for on cloud nine. Different situations, same basic feeling.
Exactly. Pure delight. It makes you wonder, though, why we have so many ways to say really happy.
Maybe happiness just has different flavors.
Yeah.
Or intensities.
Could be. Then there's on top of the world. That one seems to add a bit more, doesn't it? Like success.
Yeah, like landing a lead role in a play. It's not just joy. It's joy plus feeling successful. Confident.
That's a good way to put it. A sense of accomplishment feeding the happiness. And for just describing, pure, unadulterated fun, to have a whale of a time.
Like exploring beaches on vacation. The size of the whale really gets that big fun idea across.
It does, and maybe even more intense is to have the time of one's life.
Ah, the surfing anecdote example. That sounds like a peak experience, something truly unforgettable.
Totally. And what's interesting is how some of these stick around, full of the joys of spring.
She mentions that's a bit old-fashioned.
Slightly, yeah. But the image still works, doesn't it? That feeling of newness, cheerfulness, even if it's just, reading a book while it's raining outside. Nature's influence on language right there.
It really is. Such a cheerful feeling. And then something maybe simpler, but just as nice, to make one's day.
Just means to greatly please someone, like getting a handwritten letter from an author you love.
Oh, that would definitely make my day. It's about small things having a big impact.
Precisely. And the last one in this happy bunch is in rapture's about over.
Extreme delight, right? Like the audience at a hilarious improv show, you can almost hear them laughing.
Exactly. Unrestrained joy.
Wow, okay. That's quite a dose of positivity. Now, shifting gears a bit, health idioms.
Yeah, a slightly more sensitive area, maybe. And Lucy starts with a very direct one, to kick the bucket.
Meaning to die.
Right, to pass away. The reunion example she gives, it really shows how informal it is. You have to be careful with that one.
Definitely depends on the context. Then, more formally, a clean bill of health.
That's pretty straightforward. You get it after a checkup, means you're healthy.
Then there's the rather grim one, like death warmed up.
Ugh, yeah. Someone looking extremely ill. The example of Sarah dragging herself to work with a bad cold. We've all seen that, maybe even done it.
Sadly, yes. You can just picture how pale and drained someone looks.
It's a very strong visual, but the opposite is much nicer. As fit as a fiddle.
Excellent physical health. Like John, 86 and still exercising. Why a fiddle, though?
Good question. Maybe because it needs to be perfectly tuned to sound right, like a healthy body working well.
Maybe. And if that fiddle or body needs fixing, you might go under the knife.
Yeah, a common way to say having surgery maybe sounds a bit less scary.
Perhaps. Then there's a really serious one. To have one foot in the grave.
Indicating someone is very near death or extremely ill. Tom's perspective after his heart attack, it really brings home the seriousness. Stark.
It is. But on a lighter note, something we all need sometimes, to recharge one's batteries.
Absolutely. Just resting, getting your energy back, like Julia's weekend getaway, essential self-care.
Totally. And after you've recharged, hopefully you feel as right as rain.
Perfectly fine again. Simple, reassuring image, isn't it?
And even better than just fine is as fresh as a daisy.
Refreshed, energetic, like after a shower and a cup of tea. So light and cheerful.
It is. Then back to being pale, but for different reasons. As pale as a ghost, or as pale as death.
Yeah, usually from fear or shock or sometimes illness, like Jane seeing, or hearing rather, a loud crash, that sudden draining of color.
You can picture it. And lastly, for health, a bag of bones.
Describing someone really thin, often worryingly so, not usually a compliment.
Right. Okay, so from health, we're moving to weather, a famous British obsession, apparently.
Yes. So it's no surprise there are tons of weather idioms. First, to kick up a storm.
Meaning to cause a big fuss.
Yeah.
Commotion, controversy.
Exactly, like a scandalous revelation causing a media frenzy. The storm analogy works well for public uproar.
It does. And before the chaos, there's often the calm before the storm.
That quiet period just before things get turbulent, like the office before a huge product launch, you can feel the tension building.
Exactly. And you wouldn't want to steal someone's thunder, would you?
No, that's taking attention or credit away from someone else, like Phyllis's surprise getting ruined by Jan's announcement. Not cool.
Right. Don't rain on their parade. Then, a logical one. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Suggests that, signs usually point to a real underlying issue, like those layoff rumors. Worth paying attention to the smoke signals.
True. Sometimes, though, people ignore the signals and throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, act impulsively without really thinking about the risks, like going skydiving, even if you're nervous. That desire for a thrill, maybe.
Or maybe just recklessness. And then there's to chase rainbows.
Pursuing unrealistic goals, things that probably won't work out, like constantly switching careers without getting anywhere solid. It's a bit cautionary.
Be realistic, basically. And when people overreact.
That's a storm in a teacup. Making a huge deal out of something small, like that argument between colleagues that blows over quickly. The image is great, isn't it? Tiny cup, big storm.
It really is. And feeling overwhelmed with tasks.
That's being snowed under. Like studying before exams, you just feel buried in work.
I know that feeling. And sometimes you're buried but don't even realize because you have one's head in the clouds.
Exactly. Daydreaming, not paying attention. Like Pia zoning out in the meeting.
Happens to the best of us. Finally, for weather, a polite way out. To take a rain check.
Yeah, just means, can we do this another time? Postponing politely. Classic.
Okay, so from weather to journeys. Travel idioms next.
Let's hit the road. First up, thirst for adventure.
That strong desire for excitement, new experiences, like planning an epic road trip, really captures that wanderlust feeling.
It does. And on that trip, you might go off the beaten track.
Right, away from the usual tourist spots, more remote, less traveled places, like camping in some tiny village. seeking something different.
Exactly. And some people just always have that urge, don't they? They have itchy feet.
A restless desire to travel, move around, especially if you've been stuck in one place too long. That internal need for change.
Totally. And when that urge gets overwhelming, maybe it's time to get away from it all.
Escape the routine, relax. A tropical island getaway sounds pretty good right now.
Doesn't it just? And to start that escape, you hit the road.
Simple enough. Just means to begin your journey, or even just to leave a place. Very action-oriented.
And when you arrive somewhere busy, like a city center,
You find the hustle and bustle, that noisy, busy activity.
you do. And if it's sunny where you arrive, you might want to catch some rays.
Spend some time sunbathing, basically. Relaxing on the beach.
Hopefully not doing everything a mile a minute, though.
Which describes a really fast pace. Lucy uses it for someone who talks super quickly.
Right. And if things get tough on your travels, or just in life, you might find you're in the same boat as others.
Facing the same difficulties, it builds a sense of connection, I guess.
It can, yeah. And finally, for travel, if something is perfect for your interests,
It's right up one street. Like a cooking class for someone who loves food. Perfectly suited.
nicely put. Okay, let's shift focus again to something that rules everything. Time. Idioms about time and, getting stuff done.
Pierced is round the clock, meaning continuously. All day, all night, no stopping, like nurses working tirelessly, really emphasizes that constant effort.
It does. And when you need to stop that effort,
You call it a day or call it a night, stop working, maybe after long negotiations that went nowhere.
we've all been there. Then comes the moment of truth.
Yeah, that critical point, decision time, when the outcome is revealed, like in a job interview. All that waiting leads up to it,
High pressure. One that makes me chuckle is donkey's years.
meaning a really, really long time. The example of a joke repeated for donkey's years? Yeah, that captures it perfectly.
It does, and something that hardly ever happens.
Happens once in a blue moon, like someone who almost never eats out. It's super rare.
Like actual blue moons. Then round the corner.
It means something is very near, either physically close or happening very soon, like that project deadline creeping up.
Creates a sense of immediacy.
Yeah, and when things go perfectly smoothly,
They happen like clockwork, predictably, reliably, like you hope a wedding will run. Precision.
exactly. Now, Lucy groups 3 idioms that are really similar, all about the last possible moment.
Okay, what are they?
We've got down to the wire, right to the very end, like a super close game. Then at the 11th hour, saving something just before it's too late, like a business deal.
Okay, and the third?
In the nick of time, arriving just before the deadline, like getting to the airport gates just as they're closing.
Right. All convey that feeling of just barely making it. A narrow escape.
They really do. It's funny how often we seem to cut things fine, isn't it?
Okay, now, let's move into the often complicated but always interesting world of love and relationships.
Okay. First,
To fall head over heels. Falling deeply, passionately in love. Lucy even uses it for loving a new puppy.
oh, that's sweet. It works. And the person you adore most.
They're the apple of one's eye, someone deeply cherished, like a beloved daughter or grandchild, very special affection.
Lovely. And when that affection leads to marriage.
They tie the knot, get married, often used after people have been dating for, donkey's years. Tying things together. And before tying the knot, someone might steal one's heart.
Captivate someone, make them fall in love. Could be through, like, infectious laughter or just being kind.
That spark. And then the big moment.
To pop the question, the informal way to say proposing marriage. Very significant.
Huge step. But sometimes romance isn't straightforward. Someone might play hard to get.
Right. Acting uninterested on purpose to seem more desirable. A bit of a game sometimes.
But hopefully people just connect instantly. They hit it off.
Yeah, that immediate positive feeling, instant connection, you just click.
That's the ideal. But sadly, sometimes dates don't go well. You might be stood up.
Yeah, left waiting for someone who never shows. Definitely not a nice feeling.
No fun at all. But when it does work out perfectly,
The couple might be called a match made in heaven. Perfectly suited for each other, like they were destined to be together.
and thinking about past loves.
You might refer to an old flame, a former romantic partner. Maybe you bump into them back in your hometown.
Can be awkward or nice. Okay, let's switch it up again. Colors.
Let's brighten things up. First, to get the green light.
Get permission. Approval. Like a marketing campaign finally getting the go-ahead. Green means go.
Universal signal, right? Then, something unexpected happens out of the blue.
Suddenly, without warning. Like a surprise phone call from an old friend you haven't heard from in ages,
Exactly. And try not to turn green with envy.
which means being very jealous, maybe of your friend's fancy new car. It's a powerful emotion, envy.
It is. On a happier note, you might be tickled pink.
Very pleased or amused, like getting a surprise party thrown for you. Delight.
Definitely. And a really great chance, especially career-wise.
That's a golden opportunity. Rare, valuable, not to be missed. Like a great opening for a journalist.
Seize the day. Now, looking back fondly, maybe too fondly.
Seeing things through rose-colored spectacles or rose-tinted glasses, overly optimistic view of the past.
Yeah, maybe ignoring the bad parts. Though, as Lucy adds, sometimes you need a reality check.
True that. And when things aren't clear-cut.
It's a gray area, not clearly defined, maybe in a relationship where things are a bit ambiguous.
Or in rules and regulations. Uh-oh. Next one sounds bad. To be caught red-handed.
It is. Caught right in the act of doing something wrong. Like stealing biscuits from the jar. Busted. Definitely.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be called yellow-bellied or just yellow.
Means cowardly, right? Like
wait.
being too scared to confront your boss about an issue.
Exactly. And finally, if something comes easily, without effort,
It's given to you on a silver platter, no work required.
which isn't always a good thing. Okay, next category. Animals.
Let's go wild. An eager beaver.
Someone super enthusiastic, hardworking, always volunteering, you know the type.
Oh, yes. Then facing a challenge head on.
You take the bull by the horns. Confront it directly, bravely, no messing about.
Good attitude. Revealing a secret accidentally.
You let the cat out of the bag. Oops. Maybe about that surprise vacation you were planning.
Happens easily. And something that goes on forever.
Lasts until the cows come home, like a kid playing video games for hours and hours.
Or a long rambling meeting. And when numbers fall quickly,
They drop like flies, decrease rapidly, like people getting sick during flu season.
grim but descriptive. Being told to slow down.
Hold one's horses. Be patient, wait a minute, don't rush.
Whoa there. And eating way too much.
You pig out. Indulge excessively, maybe on a cheat day.
We've all done that. Suspecting something's wrong.
You smell a rat. You feel like something fishy or suspicious is going on, trust your instincts.
Good advice. Feeling restless or impatient.
You might have ants in one's pants. Can't sit still. Excitement, anxiety, impatience.
Fidgety. And having more important things to do.
You have other fish to fry, or maybe bigger fish to fry. More important matters need your attention.
Got it. Now, how about describing people's personalities? Character idioms.
Right, someone who talks a lot.
A chatterbox.
Yeah.
Like a talkative niece or nephew. Non-stop.
We all know one. Someone unpredictable maybe causes
A
trouble.
loose cannon. You don't know what they'll do next. Can be risky.
Definitely. Someone who spoils the fun for others.
A wet blanket. Always complaining or being negative when others are trying to enjoy themselves.
Puts a damper on things. Someone who boasts a lot.
They blow their own trumpet. Always talking about their achievements.
A truly good, kind, reliable person.
They're the salt of the earth. Honest. Dependable. A real gem.
Lovely phrase. A friend who disappears when times get tough.
A fair weather friend? Only around for the good times. Not very loyal.
Sadly common. Someone with many skills, but maybe not expert in any.
A jack of all trades. Often followed by master of none, but not always negatively. Can be versatile.
True. Someone who worries constantly.
A worrywart. Always fretting about something. Can be exhausting for them and others.
Indeed. Someone offering advice without any real experience.
An armchair critic. Easy to criticize from the sidelines.
Very true. And someone independent, living by their own rules.
A free spirit. Doesn't conform, follows their own path.
Okay, nearly there. Let's count down with number idioms.
To dress really well.
Dressed to the nines. Very stylish, elegant, for a fancy event.
Got it. Figuring something out from clues.
You put two and two together, making an inference based on the obvious evidence.
Makes sense. Feeling undecided.
You're in two minds. Uncertain. Can't choose between options.
Happens all the time. A standard office job.
That's a 9 to 5, regular working hours.
If you have to start all over again.
You go back to square one or you're at square one. Return to the very beginning. Frustrating.
Very intense questioning.
Giving someone the third degree, like a police interrogation, really grilling someone.
Sounds unpleasant. Being clumsy, especially dancing.
Having two left feet, awkward, uncoordinated on the dance floor.
That's me. Two people who are very alike.
They're like two peas in a pod. Very similar in appearance or personality, often used for close friends or siblings.
Cute image. A short nap.
40 winks. A quick snooze, maybe after lunch.
Need more of those. And the absolute best quality.
It's second to none, unmatched, the very best there is. High praise.
Excellent. Okay, last category, I think. Food.
Let's dish them out. Earning the money for the family.
You bring home the bacon, providing the income, a traditional phrase.
Yeah. And your main source of income itself.
That's your bread and butter. The job or activity that pays the bills.
Essential stuff. A dishonest or untrustworthy person.
A bad egg.
Yeah.
Someone you can't rely on, maybe a bit rotten inside.
Good warning sign. The very best of a group.
The cream of the crop. The top tier. The elite.
Like the best students or the best apples. Revealing a secret.
You spill the beans. Or sometimes spill the tea, more recently. Letting out gossip or secrets.
Right, something you just don't like or aren't interested in.
It's not one's cup of tea. Just not your preference. Polite way to say you don't enjoy it.
Very British, that one. Saying something very concisely.
In a nutshell. Summarizing briefly, getting straight to the point.
Useful skill. Admitting you were wrong, maybe apologizing.
You have to eat humble pie. A slice of humility, never easy.
Definitely not. Being embarrassed because you made a mistake.
You have egg on your face. Looking foolish because of something you said or did.
Ouch. And finally, being in a difficult situation.
You're in a pickle. In a jam, facing a tricky problem.
Wow. So as you can clearly hear, the world of English idioms is just massive and so varied. It really offers this fascinating glimpse into, the nuances of the language, the culture behind it. Understanding these can seriously level up your comprehension.
Absolutely. And look, if you want to explore these more, maybe practice using them, remember Lucy from English with Lucy, the source here. She offers a free ebook. It complements this exact material, so you can find the link easily if you check out her video. It's a great resource.
Yeah, definitely worth grabbing. And this whole journey through idioms, it kind of leaves us with a thought for you, the listener. Which of these really stuck with you? Were there any that, surprised you, or maybe ones you can already picture yourself using?
Or perhaps it just sparked an interest, right, to maybe dive into other categories of idioms we didn't even touch on today. There are so many more out there.
There really are. It's a never-ending exploration.
Indeed. Well, thanks so much for taking this deep dive with us into the really colorful world of English idioms.
Yeah, it's been great fun exploring these.
Until our next exploration. You know that feeling. When someone uses a totally normal phrase,
Yeah.
but it just flies right over your head.
Oh, definitely.
I was making plans with a friend, right? And they said, let's just play it by ear. And, well, for a second, I actually pictured us trying to, play music by ear.
Yeah, it shows how much English relies on things that aren't strictly literal.
Exactly. And that's what we're getting into today. We found this really useful YouTube video. It's by J. Forrest English. And the title is pretty clear. Learn 150 common idioms to sound fluent in English.
Right. And it's a great resource.
We thought, let's do a deep dive. Think of this as like a shortcut to understanding those phrases native speakers use all the time. It really makes conversations richer, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's about getting the nuance, the cultural shorthand behind the words. Idioms are just so efficient sometimes.
So our mission today really is to unpack some of these for you, give you that practical insight.
Yeah, hopefully spark some of those aha moments when you hear them out in the wild.
And maybe, just maybe, get you confident enough to try using a few yourself. Sound good?
Let's do it. Where should we start? Maybe with planning? Or not planning?
Good idea. Okay, first one. To play something by ear, like in my story.
Right.
The video explains it means deciding as you go, no fixed plan. So for weekend plans, it means, being flexible. Let's see how we feel later.
Yeah, it's got that feeling of improvisation, hasn't it? Adapting. You might play a meeting by ear if you're not sure how long the first part will take.
Then there's to wing something.
Ah, yeah.
Similar, but usually about performing, like a presentation or maybe a speech. Doing it without much prep.
Exactly. Relying on what you already know, your instincts.
The video rightly said, though, you really don't want to wing something crucial like, say, the IELTS exam.
Definitely not. Winging it implies a bit more risk, maybe a less polished result than if you'd prepared properly.
Makes sense. Okay, last one for this bit. At the drop of a hat.
Ooh, I like this one.
It means instantly, right? Without any hesitation. The example was, call me. If you need help, I'll be there at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, it really paints a picture of immediacy, doesn't it? That readiness to jump in and act straight away, no delay.
It does. Okay, let's switch gears. How about idioms for moods and reactions?
Good call. How about to wake up on the wrong side of the bed?
Oh, classic. We've all been there, haven't we? Just waking up grumpy, maybe a bit irritable, and you don't even know why. The video's kitchen scenario, someone being a bit snippy over coffee, that felt very real.
It's such a relatable phrase for that, that morning moodiness that just appears out of nowhere.
Totally. Okay, next. To be all ears.
A much nicer one.
Yes. It just means you're listening intently, really focused. Like if you ask your boss for a chat and they say, okay, I'm all ears.
Exactly. It conveys more than just being quiet. It's about active, engaged listening. You know they're paying attention.
Then the opposite end of the scale, perhaps, to give someone the cold shoulder.
Right. Not so pleasant.
It means deliberately ignoring someone, doesn't it? Usually because you're annoyed or upset with them. Like the silent treatment example in the video.
Yeah, the coldness is key there. It's intentional, a withdrawal of warmth to show you're not happy.
And one more in this mood section. To be bent out of shape.
Right, meaning upset or annoyed.
Yeah, the video mentions someone getting bent out of shape about having to work late.
It suggests being, emotionally distorted by something bothersome. Maybe not furious, but definitely put out.
Okay, good. What about decisions and uncertainty?
Yeah. Like to be at a crossroads.
That sounds significant.
It usually is. Facing a major decision, one that could really change things. The example of a graphic designer thinking about a totally different career that's a crossroads.
Yeah, you can picture the diverging paths. Big choice point.
Definitely. Then there's to sit on the fence.
So not making the decision.
Exactly. Delaying. Maybe you're unsure or you want to avoid committing one way or the other. Like the boss hesitant about giving a promotion.
Right. Just staying in the middle, weighing things up, maybe avoiding the consequences.
A state of indecision.
And how about the ball's in your court?
Transferring responsibility.
Yeah, how so?
It means it's now someone else's turn to act or decide. You've done your part.
Yeah.
If you offer the promotion, then the ball's in their court to accept or reject it.
Okay, I get it. Like in tennis or something, it's their move now.
Precisely. You're waiting on them.
Gotcha. All right, let's talk success and failure. Some idioms there.
Oh, absolutely. How about to hit the nail on the head?
That sounds positive, like getting something exactly right.
You got it. Accurately identifying a problem or summing up a situation perfectly. Someone points out the core issue, like needing to cut costs, and you think, yes, they've hit the nail on the head.
Nice and precise. What about when things go wrong?
Well, you might have to go back to the drawing board.
Meaning, start over.
Pretty much. Your plan failed, so you need to scrap it and rethink from the beginning. Like with that computer problem example, if one fix doesn't work, back to the drawing board for a new approach.
Okay, a setback, but also a fresh start.
Right. Then there's to miss the boat.
Oh, dear. Sounds like a lost opportunity.
That's exactly it. You were too slow, you didn't act in time, and the chance is gone. Like missing an application deadline, you've missed the boat.
Right, the boat sailed without you.
And a slightly tricky one, to fall between two stools.
Fall between two stools, what does that capture?
It's when you try to achieve two different things at once, but you end up failing at both.
Oh, okay.
The video used the example of a movie trying to be a serious drama and a light comedy, but it's not really dramatic or funny. It falls between two stools.
I can picture that. Trying to sit on both and ending up on the floor.
Okay. Yeah. Failing to satisfy either aim.
Let's move to some more vivid ones. Intensity, exaggeration.
Perfect. Like to rain cats and dogs.
Everyone knows that one, right? It means raining really heavily.
It does. It's so much more evocative than just saying it rained hard. Creates a strong image of a downpour.
Definitely. What about to make a mountain out of a molehill?
Exaggeration again.
Right. Taking a tiny problem, a molehill, and blowing it up into something huge, a mountain.
Exactly. Like getting massively upset over one wrong answer on a quiz. That's making a mountain out of a molehill. Overreacting.
And the last one here, to cost an arm and a leg.
Meaning super expensive.
Right. That flight ticket example cost an arm and a leg. It just means it was incredibly pricey.
It's hyperbole, isn't it? Like you had to give up something vital to afford it.
Yeah. Okay, how about health and well-being?
Sure. Like feeling great. You could be as fit as a fiddle.
Fit as a fiddle. That sounds quite old-fashioned but charming.
It is. It means feeling really healthy and excellent shape. Like a well-tuned instrument working perfectly.
I like that. Okay, what else?
How about to get something out of your system?
I think I know this. It's like doing something you've been wanting to do so you can stop thinking about it.
Precisely. You scratch that itch, Maybe you keep talking about skydiving, you finally do it to get it out of your system.
Right, a sense of release.
Then there's to pull yourself together.
This sounds like advice you give someone.
Often, yes. It means calm down, regain your composure after being upset or maybe panicked. Like after a false alarm, you need a moment to pull yourself together.
Get back to normal emotionally.
Exactly. And a very common one. To be under the weather.
Just means feeling a bit ill, right? Not seriously sick.
Yeah, slightly unwell. You might say it if you have a bit of a cold or just feel generally off. It's a mild way to put it.
Okay, let's move into communication. Some interesting ones here, I bet.
Definitely, like, speak of the devil.
Yes. You're talking about someone, and suddenly they call or walk in.
That's the one. Like, we were just wondering where Bob was. Oh, speak of the devil, here he comes.
It's funny because devil sounds negative, but the phrase isn't really, is it?
Not usually. It's more about the coincidence, the surprise timing. Often said with a smile.
Right. Okay, what's next? A penny for your thoughts.
A gentle one.
Asking someone what they're thinking about, especially if they look lost in thought.
Exactly. Your friend staring out the window, looking miles away. Penny for your thoughts. It's a kind invitation to share.
Nice. Then, to make a long story short.
Very useful, this one.
Means you're summarizing, right? Cutting out the details of a long story.
Yep. You had a terrible travel day. Someone asks what happened. You say, oh, to make a long story short, the flight was canceled. Gets to the point.
Saves time. Similar, but maybe more direct, is to cut to the chase.
Yeah, similar goal, getting to the important part, but maybe more forceful.
How so?
It often implies there's no time for rambling or you want to bypass the small talk in a meeting. Okay, folks, let's cut to the chase. We need to decide on the budget.
Right. Straight to the main issue. Less about summarizing a past story, more about focusing a current discussion.
Good distinction. And related to not being direct is to beat around the bush.
Avoiding the main point.
Yes. Talking about related things, circling the issue, but not saying what you really mean, often because it's awkward or unpleasant.
Like maybe someone trying to break bad news gently, but taking ages to get there.
Exactly that. Avoiding the uncomfortable core message.
Got it. Okay. Nearly there. How about effort and difficulty?
Sure. The classic. No pain, no gain.
Means you have to work hard, maybe suffer a bit to get good results.
That's the essence of it. Learning a skill, training for something. It takes effort, sometimes discomfort, to achieve the gain.
Very true. What about things that aren't hard?
Then you might say, it's not rocket science.
Meaning it's pretty simple, not complicated at all.
Exactly. Compared to actual rocket science, most things are quite straightforward. It's reassuring.
And even simpler.
A piece of cake.
Yes. Very simple.
Super easy. Effortless. Like eating cake.
Okay. Unexpected events and perspectives.
Right. Like once in a blue moon.
Means very rarely, infrequently.
Yep. Based on the astronomical phenomenon, which isn't common, I only see my cousins from Australia once in a blue moon.
Makes sense. How about to add insult to injury?
Ouch. That sounds like making a bad situation even worse.
Yeah.
That's precisely it. Something bad happens and then something else happens that makes it feel even more unfair or unpleasant. Losing your job, then getting a flat tire on the way home.
Right. Piling it on.
But sometimes bad things have a silver lining.
Like a blessing in disguise.
Exactly. Something seems bad at first, maybe getting fired, like in the video's example, but it turns out to be good because it leads to something better.
Yeah, like finding a job you love even more. Seeing the positive and the negative eventually.
That's the idea.
Okay, just a few more categories. Common versus unique.
How about a dime a dozen?
Meaning very common, not special.
Yep. Cheap and easily found. Like those generic souvenir shops you see everywhere, they can feel a dime a dozen.
Okay, and the opposite. Something amazing.
Then it might be the best thing since sliced bread.
People still say that.
They do, usually humorously. It's high praise, meaning something is really fantastic, innovative, or useful, like a really clever new app.
Compared to the invention of sliced bread.
Yeah.
I like it.
It sets a high bar.
What about encouragement?
Yeah.
Support.
Well, a simple one is hang in there.
Just means don't give up, right? Keep going when things are tough.
Exactly. Perfect for language learning when you hit a plateau. Hang in there, you're doing great.
It's supportive. How about break a leg?
The strange one means good luck.
Yeah, it sounds so negative. But it's used before a performance or maybe an interview.
That's right, especially in theater, but it's spread. It comes from superstition saying good luck was thought to be bad luck, so they say the opposite.
Weird, but good to know.
Yeah.
And to give someone the benefit of the doubt.
That means choosing to trust someone's story or explanation, even if you're not 100% sure. Your coworker is late, says there was terrible traffic, you weren't there, but you give them the benefit of the doubt. You choose to believe them.
Right. Extending trust.
Yeah.
Okay, final section. Endings and conclusions.
Let's wrap it up. First, to call it a day.
Means stopping work for the day.
Yep. You've done enough, or it's late, or you're tired. Right. Let's call it a day. Time to stop.
Makes sense. And the very last one we'll cover. To hit the sack.
A very common, casual way to say,
Go to bed.
go to bed, go to sleep. I'm exhausted. I think I'm going to hit the sack.
Perfect. Well, that was quite a tour through some common idioms.
It was. Just a selection from that video, of course, but hopefully useful.
Absolutely. Hopefully for you listening, this makes those phrases a bit clearer, less mysterious.
Understanding them really does help you follow conversations better, and, using them now and then can make your own English sound more natural.
Definitely. So the takeaway is maybe pay attention when you hear these. Notice how people use them.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to try one out if it feels right. Context is key, of course.
And you can always go back to that J. Forrest English video for the full 150.
Good point. And maybe just think about how these phrases, these idioms, they're like little windows into culture, aren't they?
How so?
Well, the images they use, the situations they describe, they often reflect shared experiences or ways of thinking. Why cats and dogs for rain, why a crossroads for decisions. It's kind of fascinating when you stop to think about the stories embedded in the language.
That's a great point. Something to definitely mull over. Language is more than just words, isn't it?
It really is.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are going deep on leveling up our English today.
That's right.
And we have got this resource.
Uh-huh.
Vocab Advanced 2010.pdf.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing.
Oh.
You ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
Okay, so
Let's go.
Vocab Advanced 2010.pdf.
Okay.
It's for advanced English learners.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Basically, if you're feeling good about the basics,
Right.
this is gonna
Okay.
take you to the next level.
So it's I can speak English, but I want
You
to
own it.
own it.
Own it.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the first thing I noticed
Mm-hmm.
was this section on prepositions.
Okay.
Now, I'll admit
Yeah.
prepositions trip me up
They're so tricky.
sometimes.
Yeah, I know. They really are. But,
I mean, little words, but
yeah, they're so small, but they can really
Yes, they
mess
really
you
are.
up.
And so I thought it was cool
Mm-hmm.
that they're in here.
Right.
And they have simple examples.
Yeah.
They show you how to use by
Yes.
for different types of transportation.
Totally.
By bike,
Yeah. By bus.
by plane.
By train.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's great.
Yeah.
And then there's this other part
Okay.
that talks about the difference between on account of,
Yeah.
because of,
Yes.
and due to.
Oh, interesting.
And I've always thought that they were
I know a lot of people think that.
basically the same.
Yeah.
But I guess they're not.
They are similar.
Okay.
But on account of is
Oh.
definitely the more formal one.
Oh, okay. So if I'm writing an email
Exactly.
to someone important.
Yes. Use that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right.
So we've got the prepositions.
Right.
Now we're getting into the
Yeah.
the real meat
The good stuff.
of the vocabulary.
Yeah.
And this section on thinking
Yes.
really
Yeah.
caught my eye.
Yeah.
Because you know how sometimes you just say, I think all the time.
Yeah, we all do.
And it's kind of boring.
Yeah, exactly.
So this gives you all these other ways to express what you're thinking.
Express your thoughts.
You can say, I deduce, or
Yes.
or I speculate.
I assume. Yeah.
It's very cool.
I really like that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially, I think,
Yeah.
if you work in a professional setting,
Totally.
it would be really helpful
Definitely.
to be able to
Yes.
express yourself clearly.
Yeah, and be persuasive
Yeah.
with your ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Okay.
from thinking,
Mm-hmm.
they have this whole section on
Okay.
leisure activities.
Yeah.
So if you like to play sports, or
Yeah.
if you like to listen to music,
If you have hobbies. Yeah.
this is the place for you
This is where you go
Yes.
to find the vocabulary.
to talk about all those things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that because I think
Mm-hmm.
learning new languages, it
Yeah.
opens up so many
It doesn't.
possibilities to connect with people.
I completely agree.
And being able to talk about something you're passionate about
Yeah.
is a great way to
Totally.
build relationships.
It is like
Yes.
a common ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then speaking of connecting with people,
Yes.
they have a whole section on travel,
Of course.
which I think is so cool.
So important.
Because if you can book flights,
Uh-huh.
navigate foreign cities, and talk about your trips in English,
Yes.
that's
It
amazing.
opens up the whole world.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready to book a trip right now.
Let's go. But,
Hold on. Before we go,
okay.
we got to talk about these sections.
That are called verbs and nouns.
Yes.
So
Those are good.
what's the deal with those?
Yeah. Basically, they give you a ton of action words
Right.
and then the nouns that go with them,
Okay.
like the corresponding nouns.
Got it.
It's really helpful for making
yes.
your English sound more varied and sophisticated.
So like
Yeah.
instead of using the same verb
Exactly.
over and over again,
You got options.
I have options.
So you got choices.
I can mix it up.
mix it up.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. And it also helps you understand those subtle differences in meaning. Like when a verb becomes a noun,
Okay.
it just adds more nuance
Okay.
to your language.
So beyond just learning the words, I'm learning how to like
Exactly.
really use them properly.
Use them well.
Yes.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know what always gets me?
Okay.
It's those idioms,
Yeah. Oh, the idiom.
those expressions that just,
They're so tricky.
I know,
No.
you don't make any sense.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you try to like translate them directly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't translate them literally.
You can't know.
Yeah.
But luckily,
Yes.
Vocab Advanced 2010.pdf has got us covered.
They do.
They do.
They have a whole section
They have a whole section on idioms.
on idioms with prepositions.
Yes.
I love that.
It's so helpful.
so helpful.
Yeah.
Because there are so many idioms that I've
Yeah.
been afraid to use because I didn't want to.
You don't want to sound silly.
Sounds silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is going to help me feel more confident
That's great.
using them.
Awesome.
Okay, so from those tricky idioms,
Yeah.
we're going into this like
What-
deeper section on society,
Yes.
which talks about like
It's
socialization,
Interesting.
peer pressure,
Big topic.
the generation gap.
Yeah, that one's always relevant.
Right. Yeah.
Like it never goes away.
Yeah, you would think it would go away,
You'd think.
but it never does.
Nope.
And then it just keeps going.
And this document keeps going.
This document keeps going.
Yes.
We've got education, multicultural society,
Important.
mass media.
It's like they thought of everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they knew what we needed.
What we needed.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
they did good.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm realizing
What is you realizing?
it's not just about knowing all these like fancy words.
Okay.
It's about like
Yeah.
understanding how they all connect.
It's the connections.
Yeah.
It's the big picture.
It is. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It is.
Okay. We've barely scratched the surface.
We've barely started.
We've barely started.
Yeah.
What
Say
else?
some more.
What else is coming up?
Well, nice.
We're going to get into some of the heavier topics.
Keep bringing it up.
Law and order,
Yeah.
the economy, and even politics.
Oh, boy.
Buckle up.
Okay.
That's going to be good.
I'm ready.
All right. All right. So we're getting into the heavy stuff now.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Law and order.
Okay. I am intrigued.
It's like, it's surprisingly in-depth.
Oh, really?
Like, it's not just about knowing,
okay.
like, robbery versus theft. It's like, it really goes into,
Right.
like, the whole legal process.
Oh, cool. So like Law and Order, but with real vocab.
Yes.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
So it explains things like,
It explains stuff like evidence,
okay, evidence.
verdict,
Okay.
even capital punishment.
Wow. Okay.
Like, all these kind
Yeah, those are big,
of words.
big concepts.
And I feel like we use them sometimes
Right.
without really knowing what they mean.
I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
They kind of throw them around,
Yeah.
but this actually like
All right.
defines them clearly.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And it goes into like,
And it even like goes into the differences
okay.
between murder and manslaughter,
Oh, wow.
which are like
yeah,
one word different,
huge.
but very different legally.
Right.
Yes.
Like really different consequences.
yeah, big time.
Okay. Wow.
So
That one's intense.
it is.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
lighten it up a little bit.
All right. Where you go?
How about the economy?
Okay. The economy.
Is this where I learn all the like secret Wall Street lingo?
Well, maybe not all the secrets,
Okay.
but you'll definitely learn some.
Right.
You'll get a good foundation.
Okay. Cool.
It covers, everything from like supply and demand,
Okay.
which is, pretty basic.
Right.
But then it gets into stuff like trade deficits,
Okay.
economic growth.
I hear those
Yeah, you hear them.
all the time. Do you really know what they mean?
Not really.
This will teach you.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah, it's good.
I like that.
Yeah. And it even goes beyond just like
Okay.
the numbers and stuff.
Yeah,
It talks
right.
about like different economic systems, like the difference between,
Yeah.
nationalization and privatization,
Right.
who controls the industries.
Those are some
Yeah.
those are hot button topics.
Those are big questions.
Yeah, and I feel like
Yeah.
if I knew the vocab,
Yes.
I could follow those
You to be able to
conversations better.
follow along better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And even form
Yeah. And even like,
your own opinions.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it talks about,
It also talks about,
Okay.
it doesn't just stay like high level.
Right.
It talks about things like poverty,
right.
wealth,
Right.
standard of living.
Yeah. And those are
Those are important
really important. Yeah. Because economics
because it's about
affects people.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that.
It is easy to get lost in,
We're looking at,
yeah, all the charts and graphs.
yes, exactly.
Fuck it.
It's about people's lives.
It's about people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So
Sure.
we've covered law,
Yeah.
the economy.
The economy.
I feel like I'm getting smarter already.
I hope so. All right, so, and now let's move on.
We're moving on to,
Politics.
politics.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is,
I'm a little nervous.
well, it's a fascinating section.
Oh,
It really unpacks
Okay.
everything from like different political systems,
Yeah.
different ideologies,
Right.
to like,
Yeah.
you know how elections work, international relations,
Okay.
the whole shebang.
Oh, that reminds me.
What's that?
My friend was trying to explain to me the difference between proportional representation.
And
That's a tricky one.
I couldn't remember what it's called,
I know.
but I was like,
It's a mouthful.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I know
Uh-huh.
there's two different systems,
Yeah.
but I don't remember
It's hard to keep them straight.
what they are.
Yeah.
Is that something
It is?
this covers?
It is.
That's
It explains it really well, too.
Okay, so basically,
Basically,
proportional representation.
proportional representation is all about
Okay.
giving parties seats
Uh-huh.
based on their percentage of the vote.
Okay.
So, like, if they get
Right.
20% of the vote,
They get 20% of the seats.
they get 20% of the seats.
Okay.
Whereas first past the post is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whoever gets the most votes wins, even if
it's not the majority.
it's not a majority.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense.
I'm glad it's clear now.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can see how
And you can see how that
that could really affect
Yeah.
like the outcome of an election.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool.
And it goes even further.
Oh, really?
It talks about the concept of balance of power in democracies.
Okay, so that's like
Yeah, like how different
it's-
branches of government
that like no one has.
kind of keep each other in check.
Too much power.
Yeah,
Right?
nobody gets too powerful.
Okay.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
stresses the importance of an impartial judiciary,
Right. So the judges are
fair and unbiased.
fair.
Okay? It's all about making sure
Right.
the system is fair for everyone.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's like they
did a good job
is
of,
taking these big concepts
I like it.
and making them digestible.
Yeah, making them make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You feel smarter?
I do feel a little smarter
Yes.
about politics now.
That's what we want. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we've gone through,
So we've done law,
we've done the
we've
economy,
done politics,
politics.
but we're not done.
Oh, there's more.
There's more.
Okay, hit me.
All right, so next, we're going into the future.
Oh my goodness.
We're going into science and technology.
Okay.
Get ready.
All right, science and technology.
Yes.
Here we go.
This is a good one.
This is where I think
I think so too.
Vocab Advanced 2010.pdf really shines.
It does. It's not just about defining the terms. It's about understanding how science and technology are shaping our world and maybe even like
Okay.
predicting where we're going next.
Ooh, I like that. A little
A little glimpse into the future.
glimpse into the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we even begin
Where do we begin?
with such a massive topic?
It is a big one.
It is huge. Is this where we get into all that like fancy science jargon?
You might encounter some,
Okay.
but
Wow.
don't worry. It breaks it down really nicely.
Okay.
It starts with like
Okay.
the fundamental building blocks of science.
Okay.
Like, cells,
Right.
atoms,
Mm-hmm.
gravity,
Gravity. Yeah.
galaxies,
Okay.
all that good stuff.
The basics.
Basics, yeah.
Okay, I think I can handle that.
I think you can.
But I have a feeling
But
it gets a little more complicated.
it does get more complex.
Okay.
Yeah, like we get into things like
They do.
genetic engineering.
Ooh. Good.
which is like,
Right.
manipulating the building blocks of life.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
And cloning,
Yes.
which I feel like brings up
Which brings up
a lot of ethical questions.
so many ethical questions
Yeah.
about identity and,
Like, what does it even mean
what does it mean to be human?
to be human?
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing
It is. To think about how far
how far we've come.
we've come.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, like,
Makes you wonder.
are we opening Pandora's box?
Right. Like, are we going too far?
Yeah.
It's a valid question.
Yeah, and I think
That's why
this is why this vocabulary is so important.
vocab is so important.
Because we need to be able to
You need to be able to talk about it.
talk about it.
Yes.
Like, intelligently.
Exactly.
And, like, have these,
have these conversations
Okay.
and weigh the pros and cons.
right, like automation, for example.
Okay. Automation. Good one.
On one hand, it
Could be amazing.
like free up our time.
Right. More
But on
efficient.
the other hand, it's like,
But
then that happens to the workers.
exactly what happens to the jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big questions.
Big question.
And we need the words.
We need the language.
Yeah. To talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's not just about automation, though.
Okay, what else?
There's so much more in this section.
Oh, there's more.
Like, we've got artificial intelligence,
Okay.
which is like already here.
Right, it's happening.
It's happening. And
Yeah.
then there's like nanotechnology.
Nanotechnology,
Right.
just like,
I don't even know.
it's like manipulating matter
Okay.
at the atomic level.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
That sounds like,
It sounds like sci-fi, but it's
Yeah.
becoming more and more real.
wow.
And we need the words to talk about it.
Yeah, to understand it.
And understand it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like
Like your brain needs an upgrade.
I need like a brain upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay, but speaking of like
Okay.
the future of the planet,
Yes.
we're talking about all this cool technology,
Hmm.
but like what about the environment?
That's a huge question.
It is.
And this document doesn't shy away from it.
Okay.
It dives right into terms like
Okay.
climate change,
Right.
pollution,
Yes.
renewable energy,
Yeah, the important stuff.
the big stuff, yeah.
And it's crazy to think it is crazy those words are like in our everyday vocabulary now.
They're everywhere,
Yeah, which means like
which means these issues
these are big issues.
are real.
Yeah.
They're important.
Very real.
We got to talk about them.
Yeah, and the fact that we're
Talking about them.
and I think it's good that
Talking about them means
yeah.
like we're becoming more aware.
Yeah, more aware and we're having those conversations.
Yeah, we are.
So that's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like
It does seem like
technology could be
technology could be part of the solution.
part of the solution.
Yeah.
Right? Like I see it talks about
Yeah.
genetically modified crops,
Mhm.
sustainable development.
Yes.
It's all connected.
It is all connected.
So it really is like
it's a reminder that
technology is a tool.
technology is a tool.
And it's like, how are we
Yeah.
going to use it?
How are we going to use it?
Right.
Yeah. Hey, big question.
Okay, we're going through all of this.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
I feel like I've had
Like a mental workout.
a mental workout.
Yeah.
It's making me think about
Makes me think about
how powerful language is.
language is powerful and
Yeah.
having the right words.
Yeah, like if you have
Can make all the difference.
the right words, you can
You can express yourself better.
express yourself,
You can understand better.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm so with you on that.
It's been a journey.
It has been a journey.
And Vocab Advanced 2010.pdf.
I know it's so much more
It's so much more
than just a list of words.
There's just a list.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like a key
they gave us this key
to
to
unlock
unlock all these
our
different
different worlds.
worlds and ideas.
Yeah, from law and order to the economy
To science and technology.
to the human experience. Like,
It's amazing.
it's pretty cool.
So I'm walking away from this deep
Yeah.
dive
Yeah.
feeling very inspired.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to our listeners,
Yep.
thank you for joining us
Thank you guys.
on this deep dive into vocabulary.
We hope you learned a lot.
We hope you had fun.
Yes, we did too.
We did.
Yeah.
Until next time,
See you next time.
keep those brains buzzing
Keep learning.
and keep those words flowing.
All right. So, sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a bit of a vocabulary rut, using the same words day after day.
I know what you mean.
But I was looking at this guide to 20 advanced words, the kind that, can really make you sound smarter in everyday conversations.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be fun to kind of deep dive into some of these words.
I think that's a great idea. It's not just about sounding smart, though, right?
Right.
It's more about expressing yourself with more precision and nuance.
Mhm.
And honestly, even understanding how other people are using language to kind of persuade you or inform you.
Right. Yeah. It's like you can be more persuasive and also not be persuaded by other people.
Exactly.
So we're not aiming to turn everyone into Shakespeare here.
No.
But I bet you'd be surprised how many of these words you've already encountered
Yeah.
without realizing, how much they can elevate your communication.
Absolutely. And that's actually what's so interesting about this particular set of words. They're not pulled from some obscure academic journal or something like that.
Right.
They're words that appear in everyday conversations, articles, books, you name it.
Yeah.
So knowing them inside and out, that really makes you a better speaker.
Yeah.
But it also makes you a more critical listener at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like having a secret decoder ring for the English language.
I like that.
Yeah. So let's unlock some of these words.
Okay.
What's our first one?
Well, we'll start with intriguing. Now, on the surface, it just means very interesting.
Yeah.
But think about the difference between saying, that movie sounds interesting,
Right.
versus that movie sounds intriguing.
Ooh, yeah. Intriguing definitely has more weight to it.
Right.
It's like you're saying that movie has hooked your curiosity and you need to know more.
Precisely. It suggests a much deeper level of engagement. You're not just passively interested, you're actively drawn in.
It's almost like intriguing implies there's a mystery to unravel.
Yeah, there's something more to it.
Yeah. Okay, what's next on our list?
Let's go with diligent, meaning showing care and perseverance in your work. Now, you could easily just say someone is hardworking, but diligent, that carries a different connotation, doesn't it?
It does. Hardworking just sounds like putting in the hours. But diligent, like you said, it makes me think of someone who's truly dedicated to their work.
Exactly.
Who really takes pride in what they're doing.
And that distinction can make all the difference, especially in like a professional setting.
Oh, totally.
Imagine you're describing a colleague to your boss, right? Diligent paints a much more impressive picture.
Right. It subtly implies that they go above and beyond just the bare minimum.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm already feeling my vocabulary muscles getting stronger. What's word number 3?
Let's tackle one we all know too well. Tedious.
Yes.
Meaning, of course, boring and repetitive, something that just seems to drag on forever.
Yeah. Tedious is the perfect word for that stack of paperwork on my desk.
Oh, I know.
Or that meeting that could have been an email. Haha.
Exactly. But the reason this word is so useful is that it allows you to express that feeling of boredom
Right.
in a more sophisticated way.
So instead of just groaning that something's boring,
Yeah,
using tedious actually makes you sound more articulate.
precisely.
Right.
And it also allows you to be more specific about, what kind of boredom you're experiencing.
Okay.
Tedious implies a sense of monotony, of having to do something repetitive and unchallenging.
That's a good point. It's like saying, this is boring and it's making me feel drained because it's just so mindless.
Right. And by using that kind of nuanced language, you're really signaling to others that you're thoughtful and attentive to detail, even when you're describing something, negative.
Okay, I can definitely see how that could come in handy. Let's keep going.
Okay.
What's our next word?
This one's a big one, and we hear it used a lot, especially these days. Unprecedented. It means, quite simply, never done or known before.
This is definitely a word that carries a lot of weight, especially in the news.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like every other day there's some unprecedented event happening.
I know, right? But that's why it's so important to understand its true meaning.
Okay.
Unprecedented isn't just about something being new or different. It's about something being truly groundbreaking,
Yeah.
something that breaks the mold.
So it's not just about a change, it's about a truly significant shift
Exactly.
that's never, ever been seen before.
It's about recognizing those moments in history or in science or culture
Yeah.
that just completely change the game.
And by using unprecedented correctly, we can avoid kind of diluting its power and make sure that it's used only when it's truly warranted.
Absolutely. It's about using language with precision and impact.
Okay. That's 4 words down, 16 to go.
Wow, we're making progress.
I know, I'm feeling more confident already.
That's great to hear.
What's up next?
Let's aim for completeness with comprehensive.
Okay.
This word signals that something is complete, thorough,
Uh-huh.
including all the necessary details.
So instead of just, asking for a report, I could ask for a comprehensive report.
Yes.
Meaning I want all the data, all the analysis, no stone unturned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And imagine Like you're reading a review of some new gadget, right?
Huh?
A comprehensive review that would cover all its features, the pros and cons,
Yeah.
comparisons to other similar products, and so on.
It's like saying, give me the full picture, leave nothing out.
Precisely. Comprehensive just implies a level of depth
Yeah.
and thoroughness that goes, beyond the surface.
I can see this word being useful in all sorts of situations.
Oh, yeah,
Work, research, even just planning a trip.
absolutely.
Okay, what's word number 6?
Let's get a little more nuanced here
Okay.
with subtle.
Okay.
This word describes something that's not obvious,
Uh-huh.
delicate, or understated.
Ooh, subtle is a good one. It's like noticing those little details that most people might miss.
Yeah.
Like a subtle hint of spice in a dish, or a subtle change in someone's mood.
Exactly. And this word is all about being perceptive, about paying attention to the fine details.
Yeah.
It suggests a level of awareness and understanding
Yeah.
that goes beyond the superficial.
I love that. It's like saying, I see what you did there,
Yeah.
but in a much more sophisticated way.
Exactly. Subtle implies a deeper level of observation
Yeah.
and insight.
This is great. We're already starting to unpack some really interesting words here.
I know, this is fun.
What's up next?
This one might hit a little close to home for us. Jargon. It refers to the specialized language used by a particular group or profession.
Oh, yeah. I think we're all guilty of using jargon sometimes. It's so easy to fall into that trap,
I know.
especially when you're talking to people in your own field.
But being aware of jargon and knowing when to avoid it, that is crucial for effective communication.
Yeah.
Think about it. Have you ever been in a conversation where you felt completely lost
Oh, yeah.
because everyone was just using all these technical terms that you just didn't understand?
Absolutely. It's like they're speaking a different language.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel so excluded
Yes.
or even intimidated,
Exactly. So while jargon can be useful, within a specific group,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that clear, simple language,
Uh-huh.
that's usually the best way to communicate with a wider audience.
Right. It's about making sure that everyone is on the same page, regardless of their background or expertise. Okay, what's word number 8 on our list?
Let's talk about ambitious,
Okay.
a word that often gets thrown around. But do we really understand its full meaning?
Mhm.
It's more than just wanting to succeed.
Yeah.
It's about having this strong desire to achieve something truly significant.
So it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder. It's about setting goals that are truly challenging and meaningful.
Exactly. Think about it. You could say that someone's ambitious because they want to be a CEO, right?
Right.
But you could also say that a scientific research project is ambitious because it aims to solve some major global problem.
So ambitious can apply to individuals and their goals,
Yeah,
but also to projects, ideas, even entire organizations.
absolutely. It's about setting the bar high and striving for something that pushes the boundaries.
I like that. It's about aiming for excellence, for making a real impact.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep this vocabulary train rolling. What's word number 9?
This one's crucial in our increasingly interconnected world. Empathy.
Okay.
The ability to understand and share the feelings of others.
Empathy is more than just sympathy, right? It's about truly putting yourself in someone else's shoes and seeing the world from their perspective.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that everyone has their own unique experiences and perspectives and being able to connect with them on like an emotional level.
I can see how empathy is essential in so many areas of life, from personal relationships to professional settings to even just navigating society as a whole.
Absolutely. It allows us to build stronger relationships, resolve conflicts more effectively,
Yeah.
and just create a more compassionate and understanding world.
All right, we're almost through our first 10 words.
I know. Can you believe it?
What's the last one we'll tackle in this section?
Let's finish with reluctant.
Okay.
It describes someone who's unwilling or hesitant to do something.
I feel like I use this word all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm reluctant to try that new restaurant because I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Or he was reluctant to share his ideas because he was afraid of being criticized.
It's about expressing a sense of hesitation or reservation without being outright, negative or dismissive.
Right. And sometimes that hesitation, it's warranted.
Totally.
Reluctant can signal that you need more information or convincing before you're ready to fully commit.
Okay, so we've covered 10 fantastic words already.
I know, it's amazing.
I can already feel my communication skills leveling up.
Me too.
But this is just the beginning, right?
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
We've got 10 more words to explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. Welcome back. I hope you've got your mental dictionaries ready.
Yeah.
Because we're about to unlock 10 more powerful words
Okay.
that can add some serious punch to your vocabulary.
I'm ready to expand my linguistic horizons even further.
Excellent.
What's the first word we're tackling in this round?
Let's start with elaborate, which means to explain something in greater detail.
Okay.
Think of it as going beyond the surface level, really fleshing out your thoughts.
I can see how elaborate would be useful in so many situations. Like if someone gives a presentation with a really interesting idea, you could say, "That sounds fascinating. Can you elaborate on that point?"
Exactly. It's a great way to encourage deeper discussion
Yeah.
and get to the heart of a matter. You're signaling that you're not just passively listening,
Right.
but you're actively seeking a more comprehensive understanding.
It's like saying, "Tell me more. I'm all ears."
I love it.
Okay, what's next on our list of vocabulary power-ups?
Let's embrace a little bit of the unexpected
Okay.
with spontaneous.
Okay.
This word describes something done without planning,
Right.
something impulsive and in the moment.
Ooh, I love a good dose of spontaneity. It's like
Yeah.
throwing caution to the wind and just going with the flow.
And sometimes, those spontaneous decisions, those lead to the most memorable experiences.
For sure.
Think about it. Have you ever just taken a spontaneous road trip
Oh, yeah.
or decided on a whim to try a new restaurant?
Yes. And those are often the stories I end up telling over and over again.
Yeah.
Right? It's like spontaneity injects a little bit of magic into life.
I completely agree. It keeps things interesting. It allows us to break free from our routines.
Okay, I'm feeling energized by that word. What's next on our list?
Let's come back down to earth a little bit
Okay.
with mundane, which describes something ordinary, routine,
Yeah.
or even a bit boring.
I think we all experience those moments of mundanity in our lives.
Absolutely.
It's the everyday stuff that we just have to get through.
But here's the interesting thing about mundane. It's all about perspective. What one person finds mundane, another person might actually find comforting
Oh, that's interesting.
or even enjoyable.
That's a good point. Like, I find folding laundry to be incredibly mundane, but my partner actually finds it really relaxing.
Exactly. So while mundane, might have these kind of negative connotations, it's important to remember that it's subjective.
Yeah.
What matters is how we choose to approach those everyday tasks
Right.
and find meaning in them.
Okay, I like that reframing of mundane. It's a reminder to find the silver lining even in those, most ordinary moments. What's our next word?
Let's get real with candid,
Okay.
which means open, honest, and straightforward.
Candid. I appreciate people who are candid. Even when it's not always easy to hear,
Right.
It shows a level of authenticity
Yeah.
and respect,
And that candid communication, that is crucial for building trust
Uh-huh.
and strong relationships.
Totally.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Would you rather someone sugarcoat their feedback or just be upfront and honest with you?
Oh, definitely upfront and honest.
Yeah.
It might be uncomfortable in the moment,
Yeah.
but ultimately it's so much more helpful
Yeah,
and productive.
exactly. Candid allows for real conversations to happen.
Yeah.
And we can learn and grow from each other's perspectives.
Okay, I'm ready for our next word. What have you got?
Let's find some relief
Okay.
with alleviate, which means to reduce or relieve pain, difficulty, or stress.
Ooh, alleviate feels like a very soothing word. Like taking a deep breath and feeling the tension just melt away.
I love that. Think about it in different contexts. Like a doctor might prescribe medication to alleviate a patient's pain.
Uh-huh.
A government might implement policies to alleviate poverty.
Right.
Or even on a personal level, you could say, listening to music helps me alleviate stress.
Exactly. Alleviate can be applied to such a wide range of situations.
Oh, yeah.
From physical discomfort to emotional distress to societal problems. It's about taking action to make things better.
Yes. To ease burdens.
Okay, we're over halfway through our second set of words.
I know, this is going by fast.
What's next on our vocabulary adventure?
Let's talk about versatile, which describes something or someone who's adaptable,
Okay.
able to be used or function in many different ways.
Oh, versatile is a great word to have in your arsenal, especially in today's world where adaptability is so highly valued.
Absolutely. Think about, Like a chef who can cook any cuisine, or like a tool that can be used for multiple tasks. That's versatility in action.
It's about being resourceful, adaptable, being able to pivot and thrive in different situations.
And in a world that's constantly changing, versatile individuals and organizations, they have a distinct advantage. They can navigate challenges and seize opportunities with, greater ease.
Okay, I'm making a note to add versatile to my resume. What's up next?
Let's acknowledge those moments of unplanned action.
Okay.
With impulsive, meaning acting without thinking about the consequences.
Oh, impulsive. That can be both exciting and a little bit dangerous.
That's right.
Sometimes those spur-of-the-moment decisions lead to these amazing adventures, and other times, not so much.
It's true. Impulsivity can be a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It can lead to spontaneity, excitement, but it can also lead to regret if we're not careful.
I think it's about finding that balance between being open to new experiences and making sure we're not acting recklessly,
Exactly. And sometimes a little bit of planning can go a long way in preventing those impulsive decisions from backfiring.
Okay, I'm ready for our next word. What have we got?
Let's vent a little.
Okay.
With frustrating.
Okay.
Which describes something that causes annoyance or disappointment.
Oh, frustrating. We've all been there.
Oh, yes.
Those moments when things just don't go our way.
Yeah.
Or we encounter obstacles that seem impossible to overcome.
But here's the thing about frustration. It can actually be a powerful motivator.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. When you're frustrated by a problem, you're more likely to put in the effort to solve it.
That's a good point. It's like frustration can fuel our creativity and our problem-solving skills.
Exactly. So next time you're feeling frustrated, try to channel that energy into finding a solution, into overcoming the challenge.
Okay, we're down to our last two words in this set.
I know, I can't believe it.
What's up next?
Get ready to be captivated by compelling, which describes something that evokes interest, attention, or admiration.
I love the word compelling. It's like a magnet,
Yeah.
It draws you in and makes you want to learn more.
Think about a book that you just couldn't put down.
Oh, yeah.
Or like a speech that left you feeling so inspired. Those are examples of compelling content.
It's about creating something that truly resonates with people,
Yeah.
that leaves a lasting impact.
And it's not just limited to words, like a compelling piece of art, a compelling performance,
Yeah.
even a compelling personality. All of those can have that same magnetic effect.
Okay, on to our final word for this segment.
All right, let's do it.
What do we got?
Let's conclude with the power of resilience.
Okay.
With resilient, meaning able to recover quickly from difficulties or setbacks. It's about bouncing back from challenges.
Yeah.
Stronger than before.
Resilient is such an important quality to have, especially in today's world, where we're constantly facing uncertainty and change.
Absolutely. Think about it. Resilient people, they don't let setbacks define them.
Right?
They learn from their mistakes. They adapt to new situations.
Yeah.
And they just keep moving forward.
It's about having that inner strength and determination to overcome obstacles and come out on the other side.
Yeah.
Even stronger than before.
Exactly. Resilience is about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
And using them to fuel, our personal development.
Okay, we've explored another 10 amazing words. I'm feeling so empowered by this expanded vocabulary. But before we move on, I'm curious. Which word from this set really resonated with you?
It's hard to choose just one. So many of them feel so relevant to everyday life. But I think resilient, that one's really sticking with me.
Yeah, I can see why.
It's such a powerful reminder that we can bounce back from challenges,
It is. And it ties in nicely with something we've been highlighting throughout this whole deep dive, right?
Learning and using these words, it isn't just about, sounding smarter.
Right.
It's about equipping yourself to navigate the world more effectively.
It's like we're giving our listeners a toolbox.
Yeah.
Filled with these linguistic power tools.
I like that analogy. And just like any good toolbox, it's important to keep adding new tools, right?
Right.
As you encounter new challenges and situations.
So this deep dive, it's really just the beginning, right?
It is.
It's about sparking curiosity and encouraging our listeners to keep exploring, this vast and fascinating world of language.
A lifelong journey.
So where can our listeners go from here? What are some, practical tips for expanding their vocabularies even further?
Well, there are so many great resources available these days. You could start a word of the day ritual, subscribe to those online dictionaries or like etymology blogs.
Oh, yeah.
Or even just make a conscious effort to pay attention to the language used in your favorite books, podcasts, movies.
I love that idea of making it a daily habit.
Yeah.
It's like a mini workout for your brain,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Flexing those linguistic muscles.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to use those new words in your own conversations, right?
Right.
The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
That's such an important point. It's not enough to just memorize the definitions.
Right.
We need to actually put these words into practice,
Yeah.
to really make them our own.
Think of it this way. Every new word you learn, it's like adding a new color to your palette. It gives you more options for expressing yourself with nuance and precision.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a bit of a challenge.
Okay.
What's one word you learned today that you're going to commit to using in a conversation this week?
Ooh, that's a good one. And I would add to that, how will using that word change the way you communicate? The way you're perceived?
Yeah.
Or even the way you think?
That's a great question to ponder. Remember, the power of language is immense. It shapes our thoughts, influences our actions, and connects us to each other.
It really does.
So go forth, listeners, and wield those words with confidence and intention.
I love it.
That's it for our deep dive into 20 advanced words you can use every day.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, happy wordsmithing.
When you hear certain words, don't they just kind of bring that holiday feeling to life? We're going to dive into some Christmas vocabulary today.
Yeah.
But we're going deeper than just, dictionary definitions.
Right.
We're really trying to see how these words reflect like culture and tradition.
Absolutely. I think that language is such a good window into how people experience the world.
Yeah.
And that's definitely true for holidays like Christmas, for sure.
Okay, so we've got 19 of these most useful Christmas words to unpack.
Okay.
From the source material you sent over. And some are pretty familiar, like festive and carol.
Right.
But I have a feeling that even those have kind of some hidden depths.
Oh, for sure. You'd be surprised at how much history and nuance is packed into those everyday words.
Yeah.
For example, festive isn't limited to just Christmas.
Right.
It speaks to a much broader human need for like celebration and ritual.
That's interesting. Yeah. I've always associated carols with religious celebrations mostly, but I can see how they've evolved into something more than that over time.
Oh, absolutely. Carols have their roots in ancient traditions, and they served as a form of storytelling and even social commentary back then.
Wow. And some carols still use that beautiful old word, Yuletide, right?
Yeah.
Seems like we're bringing back some of those older terms.
There's definitely a renewed appreciation for the language of tradition.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me, we've got tinsel, bauble, and ornament on our list.
Oh, yeah.
These words bring up a lot of sensory memories, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially tinsel. Who hasn't spent like an hour untangling that stuff?
Yay.
Oh, my goodness. And speaking of decorations, did you know there's actually a difference between bauble and ornament?
That's right. Bauble is more common in British English, while ornament is the more general term.
Okay.
And the source actually gives us the example. The tree looks beautiful with all the ornaments.
Yeah. The source also mentions gift exchange.
Yeah.
The way we exchange gifts really shapes the whole Christmas experience, doesn't it? Whether it's a big family gathering or just a quiet exchange of small tokens of appreciation.
Yeah. It's fascinating how gift-giving traditions vary across cultures.
Yeah.
And even within families. The word exchange itself implies a kind of reciprocity, but that can take so many different forms.
Right. There are some real cultural gems on this list.
Yeah.
Like mulled wine.
Yeah.
Now that's a word that instantly warms me up.
Right.
Have you ever tried a Christmas cracker, though?
The Christmas cracker. It's a fun British tradition where you pull apart a paper tube with another person. It makes a little pop. And inside you find a small gift, a paper crown.
Wow.
And often a joke or a riddle.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
The source says, we pulled crackers before starting our Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try that tradition sometime.
I think you'd enjoy it. Speaking of traditions, we can't forget the words that represent like the heart of Christmas, nativity and reindeer.
Those really capture the two sides of Christmas, don't they? The religious story and the more whimsical, fantastical elements.
Yeah.
Like Santa Claus and flying reindeer and all that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing how those two words, nativity and reindeer, can evoke such different images and emotions, right?
Yeah.
The nativity scene with its quiet reverence,
Right.
and then reindeer representing the magic and excitement of like Christmas Eve.
Right. And speaking of reindeer, I can't help but think of Rudolph.
Oh, of course.
You know, Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer.
Right.
Our source even points it out. Rudolph is the most famous reindeer of all.
Of course, he's become a cultural icon in his own right,
He has.
symbolizing acceptance and the idea that what makes you different can also make you extraordinary.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That ties in nicely with the word holly, don't you think?
Yeah,
It's not just a decoration. It's a symbol of hope and resilience in the middle of winter.
that's a great observation. Holly has been associated with Christmas for centuries,
Really?
and the source provides a lovely example of its use. We decorated the table with holly and candles.
Oh.
It really adds a festive touch, doesn't it?
It does. It's interesting how certain plants become so intertwined with specific times of year.
Right.
Like you mentioned earlier, language really does reflect our relationship with the natural world.
Absolutely. We also have sleigh on our list,
Oh, yeah.
which evokes a very specific image of winter travel,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you consider the source's mention of a horse-drawn sleigh.
It's a classic image, isn't it?
Yeah.
The horse-drawn sleigh, the snow falling softly.
Yeah.
It's like a scene from a Christmas card.
Yeah.
That makes me think of the word frosty,
Yeah.
which is so evocative of that crisp winter air.
Frosty really captures that sensory experience of Christmas.
Yeah.
The source paints a perfect picture with its example. The frosty morning was perfect for building a snowman.
And who doesn't love a good snowman? Though I have to admit, my favorite winter activity might involve an advent calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Those little doors hiding daily treats.
Yeah.
It's all about the anticipation.
Right.
What are some unique advent calendar traditions you've come across?
When I was younger, my family had a handmade advent calendar with tiny pockets,
Oh, wow.
and each day held a little note or a small treat. It wasn't about the grandeur of the gifts, but the small moments of joy leading up to Christmas.
That's so heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that the essence of the holidays isn't always about material things,
Right.
It's about those shared experiences and traditions.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to something we touched on earlier, how language shapes our understanding of Christmas.
We've only just scratched the surface, haven't we?
Right.
But exploring these 19 words has shown us how vocabulary can be a powerful tool for understanding tradition history
Yeah.
and even the different ways people experience the holidays.
It's like each word is a little window into the vast and varied world of Christmas traditions.
Yeah.
And I think it's time to open one more window. Remember how we talked about adding like one word to this list?
Yeah.
A word that really captures the essence of Christmas for you?
Yeah, that's the real heart of this whole deep dive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about learning new words. It's about reflecting on what those words mean to us personally.
Exactly. And thinking about that one word, that personal touchstone for the holidays,
Right.
it can really spark some interesting conversations.
Yeah.
What word comes to mind for you?
For me, it might be generosity.
Oh,
It's about that spirit of giving,
Yeah.
not just material gifts, but also our time, kindness, and compassion.
that's a beautiful choice. And it really does remind me of something we've kind of seen throughout this whole exploration of Christmas vocabulary,
Yeah.
how these words connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely. Whether it's the sense of community evoked by Carol
Yeah.
or the historical depth of Yuletide,
Right.
these words carry echoes of shared experiences and traditions.
And even a simple word like frosty can transport us back to childhood memories
Right.
of snowy days and winter wonder.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I encourage you to hold on to that word you chose, that word that encapsulates the spirit of Christmas for you.
Yeah.
Let it guide you through this season and maybe even share it with someone else.
Yeah, I like that. Because sometimes the most meaningful conversations
Right.
start with a single word from both of us.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Hey, everyone. Super stoked to have you all here as we kind of like really jump into this topic. I know you're all obsessed with, mastering English.
That's a pretty big deal, right?
Totally. So we're going to be dissecting this awesome guide called, A Comprehensive 1-Hour Guide. And not just like summarizing it,
Oh, wait.
but pulling out the gems, those like super motivating nuggets to keep you going on your English journey.
And this guide, I gotta say, it's not your typical, learn English in 5 minutes kind of thing.
Ugh, those drive me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes deeper, looks at the psychology, like why we struggle, how to rewire our thinking.
Totally. And we'll uncover some surprising things too.
You bet.
Like, did you know even native speakers mess up sometimes?
Yeah.
And like watching Friends can be educational. Who knew?
Right. It's about finding what works for you, and this guide's like this toolbox of different approaches, so.
I'm excited to dig in. But first, like the big WHY, right? Want to put in the effort.
The guide starts with this idea of open doors to opportunities, and they use this travel example. Imagine you're like in a bustling market in, I don't know, Morocco or something.
Oh, I love Morocco.
Right. And you can haggle prices, ask for directions, actually connect with people, not just gestures.
That's the dream. But it's bigger than just travel, right?
Way bigger. Think global communication, business, ideas. English is like the key to this whole network.
So it's becoming a citizen of the world. Kind of love that. The guide also talks about building confidence. We know learning anything new does that. But why is it special with language?
Well, language is how we express ourselves, connect. It's part of our identity, right? So the more you practice English, the more confident you become, not just in the language, but in yourself, navigating the world.
It's like that moment when you realize you understand a whole conversation without translating in your head. Bam.
Total mind-blown moment. And speaking of unlocking things, there's this point about cultural connection that really hit me.
We do. It's huge. Imagine enjoying movies, books, music, all that without the language barrier. Like,
you get it, right? It's like gaining access to this whole new world of art and entertainment, that feeling when you get a joke in your favorite show without subtitles. Magic.
Pure magic. But let's be real. It's not all sunshine and roses. There are bumps in the road.
Definitely.
And the guide dives into those common obstacles. And one that probably hits everyone is, lack of time.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right. Between work, life, just existing, finding time to practice feels impossible.
And that's where the guide gets really interesting. It debunks this myth that you need hours each day, like some kind of language hermit.
No thanks.
Yeah, they emphasize consistency over intensity. Even 15, 20 minutes consistently can make a huge difference. It's about using those little pockets of time we all have.
That is so reassuring. Because I think a lot of people get scared off thinking they got to like quit their job to learn English.
Exactly.
The other big one, and this one I'll admit gets to me, is fear of mistakes.
Oh yeah, that can be paralyzing.
It is. Like I freeze up thinking about making a mistake. So what does the guide say about that?
Well, it's all about a mindset shift. Mistakes aren't failures. They're like stepping stones, proof you're learning.
I love that. Takes the pressure off because honestly, who's perfect?
Nobody. The guide uses this analogy of learning to ride a bike. You're going to wobble, maybe fall, but each time you get back on, you're getting better.
Yeah.
Language is similar. Every mistake means you're pushing your boundaries. That's where the magic happens.
Okay, feeling pumped already. We've got the why, busted some myths. Now for the fun part, those game-changing techniques to make learning not just bearable, but enjoyable. What's the guide got for us?
Buckle up because it's about to get interesting. So the guide jumps into these practical tips to stay motivated. And, it all starts with something that seems obvious, but we often miss it. Setting clear goals.
Ugh, goals. Isn't that like generic self-help stuff? I feel like I hear that everywhere.
Yeah. I hear ya, but the guide gets specific. It's not just learn English. It's about how to set goals for language learning using frameworks that work.
Frameworks. Okay, now I'm curious. Give me the deets.
So they talk about short-term and long-term goals, which makes sense, but it goes deeper, like using the SMART goal method.
SMART goals, I've heard of those, but how's that language specific?
Instead of like become fluent, which is super vague, a SMART goal could be learn 10 business English words every day for a month and use them in practice conversations twice a week.
Whoa, that's way more concrete. I can actually picture that. It's like actionable.
Exactly. And that's what keeps us motivated, seeing those small wins,
Totally.
Yeah.
Makes sense. The guide also talks about making learning fun, which we touched on earlier with that whole cultural connection thing.
Right. Because if it feels like a chore, you're going to quit.
100%. So how do we tap into that enjoyment factor, make it feel less like study and more like, I don't know, playtime?
Well, they suggest using your passions, Instead of forcing yourself to read boring textbooks, immerse yourself in English content you actually enjoy.
So like guilt-free Netflix binging. Sign me up.
Exactly. Think about your favorite shows, movies, music, YouTube, all that can be learning, sneaky learning, but it works.
Love it. But what about if I'm not quite ready to watch a whole movie in English without subtitles? Baby steps, right?
Totally. They got you covered. Start with something familiar, a show you've already seen in your native language, put on the English subtitles, and boom.
You're learning without realizing it.
Right, because you already know the story, you can focus on the language itself.
That's so smart. And as you get better, ditch the subtitles. Just enjoy the show.
And don't forget music and podcasts. Great for training your ear, picking up slang, the real life stuff.
Which, hey, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
See, you're already learning just by listening.
Exactly. But we can take it up a notch. Remember that active listening thing. It's not just about letting the sounds wash over you.
Yeah, it's like engaging with it, right? What were those specific techniques again?
So taking notes while listening, jot down new words, phrases, or summarize what you've heard in your own words. It's like a mental workout.
Brain gains. Love it. But let's be real. Life's busy. How do we actually fit in consistent practice? I feel like I'm always saying, I'll do it tomorrow.
That's where micro-learning comes in. The guide is all about it. Instead of needing huge chunks of time, it's about using those little moments we all have.
Micro-learning. Gimme those mini hacks.
Okay, so imagine instead of scrolling social media on your commute, you listen to an English podcast. Or while you're waiting in line, you review flashcards on your phone.
It's like sneaking in learning without even trying.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with those little bits of time we usually waste.
Mind blown. And speaking of things that are everywhere these days, what about those language learning apps? Are they legit or just fancy games?
They can be super helpful, especially for building vocabulary and grammar. Plus, that gamified element keeps things fun, right?
But how do we avoid just clicking through mindlessly, not really absorbing anything?
It's all about being strategic. Don't treat them as a quick fix. Use them to reinforce what you're learning elsewhere, like from reading or conversations.
So it's finding that balance between structured learning and just immersing yourself in English, right?
Bingo. And speaking of immersion, the guide gets pretty wild with it, suggesting ways to make English a part of your daily life without even thinking about it.
Ooh, tell me more.
One of the simplest but most effective. Change your phone and computer settings to English. Boom, you're navigating menus, reading notifications, all in English.
Sneaky. It's like tricking your brain into thinking in English.
Totally. They also suggest going beyond just watching and listening, get involved in online communities, follow English-speaking influencers, real-life exposure.
So it's like a holistic immersion, bringing English into your digital world.
Exactly. But what about those who are ready to level up, go beyond the basics, really refine those skills? The guide has some advanced tricks up its sleeve. Yeah, for those ready to really dive in, the guide has this section called Advanced Techniques for Improvement. And it all starts with, oh boy, the one that makes most people nervous? Speaking?
Ugh, yeah, tell me about it. I used to get, full-on panic attacks thinking about speaking English.
It's a big hurdle for sure, but the guy, it kind of reframes it. It's not about being perfect. It's about realizing speaking practice is the key to unlocking fluency.
Makes sense, I guess, because you can read and understand, but actually talking is a whole other piece.
Right. It's putting all those pieces together, thinking on your feet. It's where the rubber meets the road.
Okay, so speaking is important. Got it. But how do we actually get better without, dying of embarrassment? Any baby steps we can take?
They suggest language exchange groups, finding other learners who are also practicing.
Ooh, so it's like misery loves company.
Kinda. But it's more about creating this safe space, No judgment. Everyone's in the same boat.
I like that. Takes the pressure off. Any specific places to find these language buddies?
They mention some online platforms like Tandem and HelloTalk. They connect you with people worldwide. You can text, voice call, even video chat, whatever you're comfortable with.
That's cool. So it's like having pen pals, but for speaking practice.
Exactly. And another tip, this one might feel awkward, but it's super helpful. Recording yourself speaking.
Oh, no, not the dreaded self-recording. I always cringe listening back.
I know, right? But it's like having a mirror for your speech. You can hear those little things you might not notice otherwise, like pronunciation, fluency, all that.
Okay, so maybe it's worth the cringe. It's like having a personal coach, but cheaper.
Exactly. And once you've tackled speaking, there's the ever-growing beast of vocabulary.
Ugh, don't even get me started. I learn new words and then they just disappear. Poof, gone.
So relatable. But the guide has some tricks for making those words stick, going beyond just memorizing. It's about really understanding and using them.
So no more flashcards.
Well, flashcards can be helpful, but they suggest taking it a step further, using new words in context, creating your own examples, making them personal.
So instead of just reading a definition, I got to make up a whole sentence with it.
Exactly. They even had this challenge. Learn 5 new words each day and then come up with one sentence using all 5. It's like a brain teaser.
Ooh, I like a challenge. Makes it more fun than just, staring at a word list.
Right. It's about engaging with the language, playing with it.
Love it. Speaking of engaging, what about listening? They always feel so passive, but the guide dedicates a whole section to it.
Because it's super important. Listening is the foundation. It's how we absorb everything, vocab, grammar, even cultural stuff.
True. We talked about active listening earlier, but they suggest applying it beyond just podcasts, right? What else did they mention?
Audiobooks, documentaries, even news broadcasts. The key is choosing stuff you're interested in so you actually pay attention.
Engaged learning, always the theme. And remember those notes we talked about? What about when we hear a word and we're like, wait, what was that?
It's going to happen. Don't sweat it. They emphasize focusing on the overall meaning, not getting hung up on every single word. You can always rewind, listen again. It'll click eventually.
Patience, young Padawan.
Ah!
Okay, we've covered speaking, vocab, listening, and now for the one I always dread, writing.
Ugh, yeah, the dreaded writing practice. But the guide makes it less scary. They present it as a creative outlet, a way to really solidify what you've learned.
I'm more of a talker than a writer. Any suggestions for easing into it without, having a meltdown?
They suggest starting a journal, nothing fancy, just write about your day, your thoughts, whatever. It gets you comfortable with putting those English words on paper.
So like a brain dump, but in English.
Exactly. It gets you thinking in English, practicing grammar naturally.
Okay, I can handle that. But for those ready for more, what are some next level writing challenges?
They encourage gradually expanding, from journaling to maybe short stories, emails, even participating in online forums, stuff that interests you.
So it's finding ways to make writing fun, not just a chore.
Exactly. It's all about integrating it into your life, making it enjoyable.
Love it. Wow, we covered a ton today, from the why of learning English to all these practical tips. My brain's kind of fried, but in a good way.
It's a lot to take in, but that's the beauty of this guide. It emphasizes making the journey fun. It's not about cramming or perfection. It's about finding what works for you.
Totally. It's about those little victories, understanding a song, ordering food confidently, or just connecting with someone in their language. Those are the magic moments.
The guide has this quote that sums it up perfectly. Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out.
Consistency is key, right? It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, taking those small steps, and over time, those steps lead to amazing things.
You got it.
Well, this deep dive has been incredible, but it's just the beginning. There's a whole world of English learning out there waiting for you to explore.
So go out there and conquer.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question. Now that you have all these tools, what's one small action you can take today to keep that momentum going? Maybe watch a show with subtitles, learn some new words, anything. Just take that step and remember, you're capable of incredible things. Until next time, happy learning.
All right, so we're diving into these awesome English speaking tips. And guess what? We're going to use storytelling to help you guys get there. I've been really digging through all these tips, and some of them are so cool. Did you know that simply narrating your day, even just making breakfast or walking the dog, can make a huge difference? There's this story about Jane, who was super shy about speaking, but she started doing that, just narrating her day, and her fluency just took off.
It's funny, we often underestimate how powerful just those everyday activities can be. For language learning, it's all about creating a consistent habit of thinking and speaking in English.
Yeah. I used to struggle with this whole think in English thing. I'd be translating everything in my head before I could even say a word. It was exhausting. And my conversations just felt so clunky. What are some ways to actually shift your thinking into English mode?
Well, that's a common challenge. One really effective technique is to start small. So instead of trying to translate entire sentences, just focus on single words or short phrases. For example, when you see a cat, just think cat in English, not your native language. And then as you get more comfortable, gradually increase the complexity. Another helpful tip is to use visual aids. So surround yourself with English labels, posters, even sticky notes. This constant visual reminder will kind of just nudge your brain to start thinking in English.
So it's like training your brain to make those automatic connections, right? Instead of going through that extra translation step.
Exactly. And speaking of training, the source material really emphasizes the importance of daily practice, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes. The key is consistency. Think of it like working out a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
And this story about Raj totally proves your point. He was really focused on improving his pronunciation. So he started imitating the dialogue from his favorite movies, paying attention to the actor's intonation and everything. And guess what? It totally worked. He started to sound so much more natural and fluent.
You know what Raj was doing was actually quite clever. He was intuitively tapping into the power of mimicry, which is like a fundamental aspect of language acquisition. When we imitate native speakers, we're not just copying sounds, we're absorbing like the subtle nuances of the language, the rhythm, the stress patterns, even the emotional tone.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's like when we learn our first language as babies, we're constantly mimicking what we hear around us. So why not apply that same principle to learning English?
Exactly. And this leads us to another crucial point that's emphasized in the source material: learning phrases, not just isolated words.
Okay, this is something I've heard before, but honestly, I never fully understood why it was so important. Can you explain a bit more about the benefits of learning phrases instead of just memorizing individual words?
Sure. So when we learn phrases, we're not just acquiring vocabulary, we're also grasping how words work together. In natural flowing speech, for example, instead of just learning the words give and hand, we learn the phrase, could you give me a hand? This teaches us like the grammatical structure, the idiomatic usage, and the natural rhythm of the language.
Oh, so those common phrases become like building blocks for conversations. It's much more efficient than trying to piece together individual words in the moment.
Exactly. Imagine trying to build a house brick by brick versus using prefabricated walls. Phrases are those prefabricated walls of language. They help you communicate more fluently and naturally. The source even gives some great examples, like what's up or how's it going?
You know, I never thought of it that way. That's actually a really helpful analogy. So instead of getting bogged down with individual words, we should focus on those everyday phrases and how they're used in context. That's a fantastic takeaway for our listeners.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the beauty of it is you encounter these phrases all the time. In movies.
Yeah.
Music. And everyday conversations. Start paying attention to them, write them down, and practice using them in your own interactions.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so we've talked about the importance of thinking in English, practicing consistently, and learning phrases. But let's get even more practical. This source has a whole section on using stories to improve fluency. And I have to admit, I was a little skeptical at first, but then they started talking about visualizing the story and really bringing it to life with details. And it clicked for me. I actually tried it with the sample story they gave about a weekend hike. And it was amazing. I felt like I was reliving the experience as I was telling the story in English. Do you find that using your senses helps you remember things better when you're learning a language?
Absolutely. Our brains are wired to remember things that are like emotionally charged and sensory rich. So when you actively engage your senses while you're telling a story in English, like the sights, sounds, smells, you're creating those stronger neural connections, making it much easier to recall the vocabulary and the grammar. It's like turning your brain into a high-definition movie studio.
I love that analogy. It makes so much sense. And speaking of making things stick, this source also recommends recording yourself speaking English. Oh, I used to cringe when I would listen back to my early recordings. But it really helped me pinpoint areas where I needed to improve. It was like having a personal language coach in my pocket.
Yeah, such a valuable tool
Yeah.
for self-assessment. You can hear your pronunciation, your intonation, the overall flow of your speech. You might notice things you weren't even aware of, like maybe using filler words too often or speaking too quickly.
Oh, totally. I used to say and like all the time. But hearing it back on a recording made me so much more conscious of it. And over time, I was able to break those habits.
Exactly. It's all about becoming aware of
Yeah.
your own speech patterns and then making those conscious efforts to improve.
Yeah, for sure. You know, another thing that really stood out to me in these tips was the power of asking questions. It seems so simple,
Yeah.
but it's such an effective way to keep conversations flowing and build your confidence.
Asking questions not only demonstrates like your engagement, but it also encourages the other person to share their thoughts and experiences. It kind of takes the pressure off of you to constantly come up with things to say, and it creates a more dynamic and engaging interaction.
Right. And they suggest using those open-ended questions like, what do you think about? Or
Yeah.
how is your seat? Which is a great tip. Those kinds of questions invite more detailed responses and
Wow.
give you more opportunities to listen and learn.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask clarifying questions. If you don't understand something, native speakers are usually happy to explain or rephrase things. It shows that you're actively listening and you're eager to learn.
Absolutely. It's all about showing genuine interest and engaging with the conversation. Okay, one last tip from this section. that I found really intriguing. Expanding your vocabulary with context.
Yeah, learning new words in isolation can be a bit like trying to memorize a phone book. It's dry, and it's difficult to retain. But when you encounter words in context, within sentences and stories, they come alive. They suddenly have meaning and purpose.
Yeah, they give the example of the word serene, used in the sentence. The lake was serene, surrounded by mountains. And it's so true. You can instantly picture the scene and understand the feeling the word is trying to convey.
Exactly. The sentence provides clues to the meaning of the word serene. You can infer that it describes a peaceful, calm, and tranquil atmosphere. And that visual imagery helps cement the word in your memory.
Okay, so I've always kind of found the idea of role-playing a bit intimidating, but this source makes a really compelling case for it. They say it's like a dress rehearsal for real-life conversations, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like a safe space to experiment, make mistakes, and build your confidence. Think about those situations where you might feel a little nervous using English, like ordering food, asking for directions, making a phone call. Role-play those scenarios can really help you feel more prepared and less anxious when you actually encounter them in real life.
Right. They even provide this example scenario of ordering at a cafe. Want to give it a try?
Sure.
Okay, so imagine I'm the customer and you're the barista. Okay, I'm feeling brave. I'm going to go for it. Hi there. I'd love to try one of your lattes. What would you recommend?
Okay, welcome to our cafe. We have a variety of delicious lattes. Do you prefer something sweet, or are you looking for more of a classic flavor?
I'm feeling adventurous today. What's your most unique latte?
Let's see. Our lavender honey latte is a customer favorite. It's a beautiful balance of floral and sweet notes.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I'll have that, please.
Excellent choice. One lavender honey latte coming right up.
See?
Yeah.
That wasn't so bad. I actually felt pretty comfortable using those phrases and responding in real time.
Yeah. And the more you practice, the more natural it'll become. You can even involve like friends or family members in your role plays to make it even more fun and interactive.
That's a great idea. It kind of turns language practice into a game almost. Okay, so the source also talks about the benefits of joining English-speaking communities. And they share this really cool story about Ahmed, who joined an English-speaking book club. Not only did his speaking improve, but he also made new friends and expanded his cultural horizons.
Yeah. Ahmed's story really highlights like the social and emotional benefits of language learning. You know, it's not just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about connecting with people, sharing experiences, and broadening your perspectives.
It's about finding your tribe, those people who share your passion for the language and can support you on your learning journey.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is there are so many different types of communities out there, like book clubs, hiking groups, online forums, language exchange partners.
So think about your interests, your hobbies, your goals. What kind of community would you feel most comfortable in, most engaged in?
Yeah, the key is to find a space where you can use English authentically and connect with people who share your passions.
Well, this brings us to the end of our deep dive into these incredible English speaking tips. I have to say, I've learned so much from going through all these sources with you.
It's been a pleasure exploring these techniques together. Remember, the most important thing is to enjoy the process, embrace the challenges, celebrate those victories, and never stop exploring the beautiful world of language.
Yes. And for all of you listening out there, remember that fluency comes one step at a time. Keep practicing, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. Until next time, happy speaking.